United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. At this time, we'll observe a moment of silence, please. Thank you. I'd like to call this Mountain Grove City Council meeting for Monday, May the 13th, 2024. To order. I'd like to welcome everyone. We have the mics on. And we'll get to, we have some special session, executive session minutes. If you'll take a look at those, council, if you have no objections, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Second by Brenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We can do that executive too. Okay. All right. Next up on the agenda is Chief Gibbons to give the fire department report. Good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm burning at both ends, sir. So as you guys saw, the calls for the month of April, we were down about 40 calls thanks to the rain. Didn't have helped out. However, it's only the 13th of May and we're already at about 60, so I think we're probably going to get back up where we were. The door prop that we got on the MFA grant came in, and we immediately used it in training the following Monday. Nothing but positive feedback on it. It's going to be a great addition to our training stuff there. On the topic of training, I have 14 Fire 1 and 2 students that will be taking their state test for hazardous materials awareness and operations on Wednesday at the senior center. The state's actually sending someone down with their tablets and all that stuff, and it'll be actual testing, and I'm very confident that everyone's going to pass going off of their test scores from the class. So really over at the new station and between the calls and the meetings and the inspections and just everything else that we have to do also, we're getting there. It's a process though. Fire extinguisher class at Duraline, we were contacted and they wanted us to come out and teach about 20 people how to use fire extinguishers. So we handed out some handouts, pull, aim, squeeze, sweep, all that stuff. Went very well there. I'm currently working with Captain Hicks to set up another community CPR class, so be looking for that. If you know anybody that wants CPR, have them contact us, and we'll definitely get the word out and get them trained up. So that is pretty much all I have for April.
Chief, the test that they're going to give at the senior center from the state, is that something that the guys have to pay for, or is that something?
It's a completely free. It's all through the state. It's a Division of Fire Safety. So.
And how many you say is going to take the test?
14.
14.
And
Good.
9 of those are from Mountain Grove. So.
Good.
So it's available to all area?
It's the way I advertised it was to the area departments also. We've got students from Northern Wright County Fire Department. I've got 4 from Kabul. There's one guy from Bolivar that came to do his skills, and he's doing the written testing as well. A few from Ava, down in Ava area. It's just one of those things that this is a class that hadn't been this centrally located, so they're all
Well, it saves him a lot of drive time too,
Oh, it does.
from having to do that.
It does.
That's good, appreciate that, that's good. Any other questions, council, the chief? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, now we have police report from Chief Bledsoe.
Busy month, 863 calls for service. And it's just keeping us hopping. We are fortunate enough that we do grass and stuff now, and that's been keeping us really busy. But as you
Are
can
you having
tell,
pretty good compliance with the grass and everything?
it's not been, I mean, we've had some compliance. We've ran into a few lately that the individuals that own the residences are deceased
Or,
Haven't-
or just don't live here,
or just don't
Out
live
of,
here.
out of town?
yeah.
So
I
we're,
mean, same issue we have every year. A
But-
lot of those.
Are you making any headway on any of those that have been problems throughout the years, or?
well, I mean, obviously, I mean, if you drive around, you'll see some that's been mowed. Again,
Are we
the-
talking
Are
about-
we the one mowing it?
No,
no.
we have not
Okay.
mowed any yet
Oh,
this year.
good.
Good, that's positive.
So, but
Okay.
unfortunately, right now, I mean, a lot of our issues that are coming up, I mean, like there's a field that we're looking at right now, and they're just like, we can't get on the field, it's too wet.
Right,
So,
Yeah.
right, that was my question.
I mean, we're
There's
trying
a
to.
lot of people that have used their property to cut hay
Right.
over the years. Are we having any, I mean, we're just saying you can't do that anymore, or what?
That's the way I understand, yes, so we're sending letters out on fields and everything else, so. But,
And now, if it's growing up enough, it may not be as tall as they want it, but now it'd be time to cut it for hay when, as soon as it dries. And
As
then
soon
they-
as it dries, but then it
Right.
has to dry.
Right,
Right.
you can't, well, like, you can brush hog it when it's wet, but that's not gonna help either, but, you know, just as soon as it's dry, they need to do something. You couldn't mow it with a lawnmower now.
You just currently don't have anything in the ordinances that allows for that. You just
Right.
have the grass ordinance. So if you guys wanted to change that on any properties, because we don't technically have any properties that are considered agricultural in the city.
I would like to look at that. I would like to look at it. I have some people that are on, in my area that are on the edge of town there, and they do have property. And, if you look at the cost of a bale of hay, I get it. Now, I don't want to, have them come in and bale it and then leave the sides all,
Right.
without taking care of the rest of it. And that's what you get into with a lot of this property, isn't it? They come in and they bale it, but then the areas they can't get to, they just leave.
So what we hear at City Hall is that there's people that have residential homes that are next to these places that have fields, and they don't like the fact that there's tall grass and it adds snakes and rodents and all the things that come along with the tall grass being next to them, and they feel like if they live in town and they have to maintain theirs, they think even if somebody has a big open field, they should have to maintain theirs. So I hear both sides.
I would like to look
But
at
we
it.
don't currently have the way our ordinance reads, it doesn't allow for somebody to have it taller because they're baling hay on it. It just says that everybody, if they're in the city, has to be a certain height. If you want to make that exception, you would need to change your ordinance the way it reads.
I think we would have a lot of mad people in town if homes end up with farm land right beside them when they live in town for a reason.
But I think that we can say if you have so many acres, that it might be different. I think it could be different if you have, several acres. I mean, say 5 acres, like with the animals, what would be the difference, in my opinion?
I think that'd be something to look into, see what other cities are doing, see how they have it written up. Maybe go from there and see. But, I mean, we definitely can look at that later.
I'd like to look at it if we could.
Okay. All right.
You want me to we can put it on the agenda for next month and try to get some information
Yeah.
together on it?
Get some information and, see.
Am I alone? Does anybody else want to look at it? Or is it just,
I think it's reasonable, because if you look at where I live,
yeah,
I've got hay fields all around me and they hay
So
them,
are
I have no
you
problem with
wanting
that.
to, in your thoughts, are you thinking you want to do something about completely changing the zoning of those properties?
No.
Or
I think
you're
a pretty
just
good
talking
idea
about-
would be come up with a
Kind of timeline, Mark?
well, no,
something?
kinda like a property description on size and everything. And then if the folks wanna hay it, we need to get a log or a permit process going. That way, if somebody calls and says, hey, I got tall grass right here and stuff, we can say, hey, they've got a permit, they're gonna hay that, they'll have it cut, and it'll be just a little time on it. And that way you can keep, that was the answer for everything is, we're gonna hay that, we're gonna hay that. And I was on long enough that I knew the ones that were gonna hay and the ones that weren't.
Well, you know, and
Right.
if you,
Right.
if you say, you know, it needs to be cut by June 1 or 2, you know, this year, that hay's gonna be ready, it's ready right now.
But on the flip side of that, you are gonna have people that say,
Right.
it's in town, I don't think that my neighbor ought to be able to,
And that's where,
Let it
as
grow that
council,
tall.
we need to do some research on that.
Right.
And
On
as
what those
citizens in
properties
our
are.
area.
If you live at the corner of 16th and Hovis, and you mow your yard, but on the corner of 16th and Hovis, there's a hayfield. And now the house we condemned, its trees, limbs that fell down, it's,
And I'm saying that's probably not an appropriate place
No,
for a hayfield. But
How-
you take the middle school, we're putting them in the box in behind the middle school, that great big field back there, that they're gonna have to keep mowed. And I know they hay it every year, same guy hays that corner every year.
right.
and after they hay it, they don't touch it again.
That's on the property owner.
See,
But those properties are not going to be acreage, 5 acres or whatever. Is there
That
5
one-
acres
that
there?
one at Hovis and 16th is, I think they told me 3 acres.
Okay,
He owns all the
Yeah.
land behind it and on the corner and then the house and that property.
yeah, it's 3.8, I think. I looked at
It
it.
is, it's 3 or 4 acres, but it's always a hayfield and you're right there in a nice part of town. I'm not, probably didn't word that correctly, but you've got new homes around it, but you got a hayfield right next door to you and you gotta mow your yard. That ain't right.
well, I agree, and I just think we need to put it on the agenda.
there's
I'm
like a
sorry to
middle
keep you
ground.
standing
You're
there,
fine.
Danny. Let's put it on the agenda and hash it out. What do you say? Can we do that?
Yep.
Yeah, let's put it on the agenda,
Yes,
okay.
I concur.
Anything else, Danny?
Click it or ticket, starting this month. So we are participating in that. The state gave us an overtime grant of $1,000 to go out and enforce seatbelt tickets. So that starts May 20th, I believe,
May the 20th, enforcing seat belts.
through June. Well, we enforce them all the time, but we'll
Yes.
focus on,
Yeah.
Yeah, but now you're, yeah.
we'll focus on that. But,
Click it up, guys.
so please buckle up.
Do you have very many that you give tickets to for not having seat
Quite a
belts?
few. Quite a few. We're not a primary ordinance municipality, so we don't, which we wouldn't really want to stop for that just anyhow, but,
No, by the time you do cell phones and seat belts and this and, yeah.
so. Okay,
Questions for the chief, anyone?
I will say real quick, not to brag on our prosecutor, but I got to sit in city court the other day and it was phenomenal. So,
Can I add to that?
Can you elaborate?
My neighborhood is
Like,
much quieter. I see your presence, and my neighborhood is so much quieter right now. Thank you, Danny.
Can you elaborate a little?
it was very efficient. We were in and out, I think we were out by 2:40.
I think the biggest
Wow.
difference is Larry and his staff have worked with folks that had violations to where they could settle those before court day. And we've not been able to do that before because our former prosecutor did not talk to anyone until the day of court. And he's willing to do that prior to court, and that has helped tremendously.
And the officers help us, they make the connection, tell them if they want to talk to the prosecutor, call this number.
Right.
No one
That-
showed up in pajamas. I mean, it was like real courts, so.
Larry, what's your lady's name?
Pass that.
What's your lady's name at the office that takes the call?
Actually,
Ashley.
Ashley. Yeah, shout out to Ashley too.
She does a
'Cause
phenomenal job.
she's good, and Judge Veenstrom and the police department, because Judge moves them through, don't she? She takes care of it, doesn't she?
We had all the dogs.
Yeah.
There was quite a few.
yeah, that's quite a few over 200.
And she just went right through them and took care of it. Good, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep, here's your public
Thanks.
comments.
Okay, all right. Moving right along, we have senior report. I have that pulled up. How many We have 5,378. Wow, it's getting more all the time. Good deal. Home deliveries 2,800. Dining room 45. 60 plus 25, 26. That's good. Becky, you remember what it was before COVID?
I mean, usually
close.
in the 4,000s, getting over 5,000 is probably getting you a little bit beyond what we were right before COVID.
Okay, good. Thank you. Citizen Advisory Committee. That has clerk, but Jamie, do you have anything on that?
Yes, he just welcomed a new baby, so he was a little delayed in getting me this. Preston did, so if you see Preston, congratulate him on a new baby.
Yes.
So we had asked them to give us some feedback on business development. And so he sent me a list, and I can send it out so you all can get it as well. But the bullet points, one was planning and zoning database, so a central conduit for information for new businesses that are in need of zoning information. I think we probably eliminated that with having the zoning map now, and just having some confusion when asking the city for information. So again, I think that planning and zoning stuff. So a lot of this I'll follow up with Preston and give him some of the things that are currently in place and see if they have any additional feedback based off of that. Another bullet point, redirect money used for website security system startup. So money better spent on services below, and they suggested signage for the businesses in Mountain Grove, and then broadcasting through social media, radio, or flyers for new businesses.
As opposed to what? What was it?
As opposed to using it for the website security system startup, so that new business startup, because I gave them some details about what was currently in place
Right.
for new businesses.
I don't think we got any money going.
Yeah, and I think it's more of just the time,
So
the
they want
Bobby's
us,
time
they
than
wanna
anything.
take money and put it in on signage and what?
Signage for the businesses, and then broadcasting through social media, radio, or flyers for new businesses. So kind of help them with the marketing, it sounds like to me.
They
They
want,
So-
want the city to pay?
So when we have that new startup, that business startup, they see it as a financial investment, and I think their viewpoint is take the money that's invested in these other things and shift it to other things. It's not really it's not a financial investment.
Well, we contract,
a
yeah, we
time.
contract with, Bobby's company to do
Right.
that.
Did we
So
not
there's,
do away with some of that? Did we not change? I mean, I know we discussed
we changed a little
it.
bit about what he does
because
with
it's-
it.
City, I just took it over. When I started contracting, it's not been, I'm not been pushing it quite as much, but we still have been.
so is there,
Plus, I knew that was really tight.
is there money in the budget for that? I mean, how much money's in the budget for that? I
We
mean,
just
don't-
contract with him.
Yeah.
I
We
just
don't-
donate my time to the business.
Cause we don't, the city doesn't
Yeah, so
I
spend money for that.
So, yeah.
Financially,
Right,
Okay.
I know
Right.
what you're saying,
financially
Mhm.
yeah,
compensated for that. It's just
Exactly.
generosity to businesses.
Right.
yeah.
So, and I think they saw it more as like, there's a budget for it, and
Right.
so here's some other ways that we think the money would be better spent. So I'll add clarification for them on that too. And then, what applying for grants, so businesses have expressed concern about the ease of searching and applying for grants. So that would be, the third bullet point, and then the fourth and final is, appealing sidewalks, benches, lighting, and landscaping down Main Street. Curb appeal on Main Street can influence good business development. As we know, that's all gonna be demoed for the MoDOT, so.
And they will be putting all new sidewalks
And everything in there, so be interested to, I mean,
Not 60 though.
not on 60,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, so that's, you know,
Main
that
Street,
could be,
though, it would be.
yeah, Main Street it would be, but 60 not, so,
our
so
dis-
yeah.
Our discussion on maybe grants for the sidewalk that we talked about on 60.
On
might
60,
cover
yeah.
possibly
Like going
that.
up to Dollar General and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, that could definitely be good.
Yeah.
So, yep, so that was the report that they had for us.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Next thing we have is a public comment. Destiny Hutzel, we are going to talk about the pool here in a little bit, and whenever that time comes up, you'll have a chance, okay? All right. Old business, City Hall repairs, administrator.
I just want you to, you guys can take a look, if you go around the building, you'll see that, we've got a lot of damage to the soffit and the fascia on this building that needs to be maintained. So I just wanna try to, want you to take a look at it, and maybe with the new fiscal year, we can go out for bids on some repairs on this. I don't know what it'll run, I don't know if it's something that our guys can do. Most likely, we're gonna need to contract somebody to do it. Some of it was from storm damage, when the tree fell on the back of the building and damaged some of the guttering and the soffit and stuff
Do we
there.
have insurance for that?
It was, fell, the amount that it would have been just for that, where the tree fell, we have enough deductible, it wouldn't have covered that.
And the building is at the age right now, it's gonna need some.
And the rest of this is not from storm damage, it's
Yeah,
just
It's just wear and tear.
Just wear.
wear and tear. So anyway, just kinda wanna get that on your radar, that we'll probably go.
Was
need
this
to go
built
out
in
for bids.
'85, Mark?
Yes,
No, it was built. in-
95.
Yeah, 95.
yeah.
95.
30 years ago.
Okay, all right, okay. Next thing, grant updates.
I think I wrote that into my admin report too, but the
Mhm.
Twin City Sewer Project, that's all been awarded. We're just waiting on Courtney Construction to start construction on that project. It has to be completed by October. The Lake Lily project, we're still waiting on BNSF to issue the permit, that they denied at first. So everything is ready to go out for bid on that as soon as they issue that permit. Bulldog project, DRA, which is one of the funding agencies that we're getting part of our money from to extend the water and sewer out to, the west end of town, has to approve those plans, and we are still waiting. I checked today, and they still haven't sent the approval, back on those. And that project, we've got to get it out for bids because it has to be completed by November.
Is that DRA a federal thing, or is that?
And then the other caveat of that is we are using, our match on that was the funds that we got, the rescue funds, and those also have to be used by the end of the year.
They have to be expended.
Yeah.
Do they have to be
And they
checked
have to
written?
be, we've already turned in the report, cause we've expensed a little bit to TOF under that for, the engineering on that project. And so it's already been turned in that we're using the funds for that project.
So do you have to empty the account out by a certain day, or do you just have to have the money allotted,
You have to have it spent,
spent? Okay.
so
So is it just us, or they just haven't awarded any of them yet, or
we've already gotten it, it's not award, it's just that now that we have the plans completed, they have to approve the plans before we can go forward. And they just haven't, and they've had the plans for almost a month now, and they haven't approved them yet. So we're just waiting on that.
We had an incident like that, we had to cut the checks. Showing in the budget, do we cut the checks and just hang on to the checks?
So what
Yeah.
may happen on that is a lot of our match that we have to pay, we may do at the front end of the project as we start into the project, so that we can get that expensed out before we,
And can
otherwise
we
we
not
would
go
have
out
to,
to bid until it's been approved?
we can't.
Surely they
Because
understand
the
that.
funding we're getting from DRA, that's one of their requirements, that we can't go out for bid until they approve the plans.
They just
And we want their
like to
money,
delay the
so-
whole thing.
But I mean, I've expressed to
between
them
a rock and a
that,
hard
you know,
place
part of
there.
it is the funding that we have that has to be expensed by a certain time, so they're aware that we're under deadlines, so
Okay.
we're trying to move it as fast as we can.
Yeah, yeah. Hands are tied there.
Okay. Next thing is, Bill 2024-07, Budget Ordinance, first reading. Becky, you wanna talk about that a little bit before?
Well, we have to have, I mean, basically the budget, this would be the time to make any changes, suggestions, whatever you wanna do before we move ahead with the readings on the budget.
Okay.
We don't have to do the first reading tonight, we can do the first and second reading at the June meeting, if you feel like that there's things that you wanna change in it, that you want time for us to make those changes and then bring it back next month. Or you can do the first reading the way it stands. This is the budget, this isn't this year's budget, this is our budget for the new fiscal year that you guys just got copies of. So if you're wanting to allocate funds into any different areas, this would be the time to discuss that before we do the readings.
Do you wanna discuss it here and now, or are we gonna have a different like, budget meeting to discuss it.
If you guys want to schedule another budget meeting after tonight, we can do
Because
that.
I've got some problems with it.
Okay. You wanna have another budget workshop?
I don't know, do you want me to discuss it now? I mean, I'm prepared to, because here, my thoughts are this. We set what our priorities were. We all agreed on it. And I don't feel like the budget matches what we said our priorities were.
For, in which areas?
Well, you wanna get into the pool now, we can. But I don't think we're setting enough money aside for the pool.
We don't, right now, the current budget doesn't have any money set aside for the pool except what was considered operational, which is the $40,000. So if you're wanting to pull money from somewhere else besides that 40,000, yes, now
I
would
do
be
wanna
the
pull money
time
somewhere
to
else.
do that.
I think that it's become a priority. I mean, we said it was our priority, but we're not budgeting it like it's our priority.
So, in my admin report, one of the things that I suggested was if you want to earmark that 40,000, obviously that's an easy thing to set that aside, into a pool fund.
Right.
The other thing would be, we left $20,000 in the golf course. We can, I suggested if you wanna take that out of there, because I don't know of any.
But we're not taking it all out, we're only taking half of it out,
No,
right?
that's all we have set aside for
I
capital.
thought this said we had 40,000 set aside for the golf course
No, 20.
expenditure.
I
In
think she
capital
marked through
expenditures.
that on
I
our
marked
first
through
study
it, I think it's in the
session.
100,360.
We can look at
Okay,
it.
okay. And I've got some issues with the airport fund. I'll just tell you right now, I've got some issues with that. I can't wrap my mind around that.
On which,
I don't understand what we're doing at the airport that we need that much money.
which one, which money, which line item are you talking?
Am I looking at the right thing? I'm looking at the budget work, at the budget, the page that's just the
Oh,
airport.
just the work, the summary.
Am I not
Is
looking
that
at
what
the
you're
right
looking
thing?
Isn't all the money at the airport grant money?
Yes.
Yes.
Most of it
Release
is.
It's all
the
grant
lawnmower
money.
and
We have
right,
no-
that's, is that?
we
in
will
It
there?
have-
says $106,000.
That's
Am I
all-
looking at something
That's
wrong?
grant money, yes.
That's grant money.
100,000.
Okay, we are spending 100,000, is that right?
No,
No, I did set aside 100,000 in expenses at the airport.
Right,
We just
Right.
moved,
So that
We
would
moved
count
some out.
what Ray gets paid, and then the leasing of the lawnmower, those would be included in that, right?
well,
Everything is included
Yeah.
in
the
that, but it's
$57,300, is that not for the, is this, am I doing something wrong? Is this what the
let's all look
airport?
at the same
So
page.
Line item 6101, airport building / grounds. Current
Hang
budget.
on just a second. Let's all get the rest of
57,300.
this.
And we still have like 25,000 in miscellaneous, what is the miscellaneous for?
Where are we at?
So,
what was the number of that again, Zach?
So we're in expenses.
so 100-480-6101.
57.
No, that's utilities, 6101.
6101, I'm sorry, one line down.
It takes two of us to read it, doesn't it?
The 57.3?
Yeah, what's that for?
Let me get where you're at.
And then 25,000 in just miscellaneous, for what?
Is she looking over here at the year, at this year's?
Yeah, that's.
I'm looking
trying to
at
see.
this big
It's the current
expenses.
budget line, what it says.
Yeah, 6101 and
She's got a star.
7213.
I've starred the
is what
things,
she's talking about.
there's a lot of stars in there, but that particular page,
That's
So
current
which-
budget.
Which line item are you looking at?
I've starred in there for you, you've got my
this-
stuff.
That's current, that's this year's, right.
Yeah, that's the money that was spent this year.
Yep.
Or that was what was
It's
budgeted
a-
this year.
Okay. This
Still,
year.
we're still pretty
I don't
close
guess
to
I
that.
understand.
I left it at 100,000 because, of that one grant that they told us about that we could possibly have to match up to $80,000 on. And so I left that in there in case we had to do that match. We're trying to get it 100% funded. But that's why I left that money in there, was in case we had to match that grant.
Was that on the extension
Now,
of
if
the?
you don't want to leave that money in the airport in case we have to put any match in on that one grant, and hopefully we can get 100% or 100% funding on that grant, then that money would be available to move that somewhere else. I left that in there in case we have to do that match on that one grant that our
If we do
engineer
succeed on
told
the
us
grant
about.
100%, it could free it up.
Yeah.
And we are absolutely not gonna spend it for anything else.
No, and if you prefer, you can
Okay.
move that money over into capital expenditures or something. It doesn't have to
Well, we
stay
did
at the
that
airport.
this past year, some
Yeah,
of
so,
it.
cause originally
Right,
there was
right,
300,000,
right.
almost 300,000 in there. And I moved
Right, I
200
remember
of
that.
that, or
Right.
close to 200 of that over.
Right.
So you could use it in capital expenditures. So I've left that in there to
Okay.
cover the possibility of that matching grant, plus Ray, and then the mower is basically the only things that you have at the airport.
But we also got, okay. Okay.
So, my suggestion would be, but you guys are welcome to move it now if you prefer, would be, we always look at the budget about halfway through to see if we need to amend it and move things around, which is what we did with that airport money before.
Right.
If we see after Garver gets that approved by MoDOT that we are not gonna have to have any match in there, then take that money and amend it and move it over to another department.
I wanna find some money to put towards the pool.
Right.
I want more money to go towards it. We said it was a priority. I wanna figure that out. If we go to the golf course,
And then the other thing we talked about to find a little bit, didn't you say we'll be saving the money that we'll be paying the Y for the lifeguards?
That's
where's
that
that money
40,000.
at?
That's part of the Y, the
that's-
$40,000.
That's part of the
I thought the
40,000.
40 was for the paint and all the
Right.
maintenance.
That's what I
'Cause we had-
thought
we had
No, I
two
think,
different items.
let me look to be sure.
to make
Yes.
sure.
Speak
There's
on
a lot
that,
of
but-
confusion
Yeah.
on that, we were talking about that too.
Cause I thought it was,
you guys
but put
liable
them together, they were gonna get
Oh, we're
close to
good.
80.
Yeah, I thought so too. That was my understanding. Cause I've even got marked on my sheet. What about the lifeguard money?
But I should have handed it out.
I've got some other things here. We can go with this.
Can we set up one more budget workshop,
Yeah,
Fred?
I think
Mr.
that we
Mayor?
should.
I think that would be better for
I
expedient
think we should-
time to do it.
A budget workshop.
Okay, and then that way, bring the questions, and then if you wanna come in and talk to Becky about it, I know some council have to see,
Yeah, they've been.
and then we can have another workshop meeting, cause I think there's gonna be some,
There's a lot of lines moving there.
right.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean,
The only bad thing might be if we all can't make it on another night.
well, yeah, that's,
I'm not
Might
ready,
not
I'm
work.
not ready to agree to this.
So-
I'm not, I've still got a lot of questions, I guess.
So if you, under the pool one, Tammy, just to answer your question.
Okay.
100, 310, 7212.
One,
So look, go to the page that has 100, 310, the pool page.
where you had on the pool.
we're sharing over here,
That's all right.
just because we got started that way.
So if
310,
you,
7212.
look down under 100, 310, 7212, that is the lifeguards, and that's part of the 40,000.
Okay, I was probably thinking of the 2 years
Okay.
ago.
Yeah.
that was
It's
closer
all
to 40.
included in
Okay.
that 40,000.
Okay,
Is that this
So
year's
that, the
budget?
pool, yeah,
That's this year's
so the
budget?
lifeguards are not a separate thing, it's included in the
Okay.
budget.
okay.
Well, but all of this is this year's budget because as far as the breakdown, she hasn't written anything down for
Yeah,
the breakdown. It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
the grand
That's
total, so,
Per department.
Utilities.
yeah.
So do we have 2 utility accounts? Is that the same number?
Yeah, that's the same
I
number as this
gotcha,
one.
I gotcha, okay, okay. Yeah, let's do this separately. I still got some questions, don't you think?
When would be a good time that everybody can be here?
When's our deadline?
We need-
I mean, we have to pass it
Like
in,
before
we have
next
to pass
meeting.
it in June, yeah.
Okay,
We have to pass it at the June meeting, or, I mean, sometime in June. It don't have to be at the council meeting, but it needs to be passed in June.
It has to be passed in June.
Has to be passed in June, so.
I think I'm flexible. Sports probably not Memorial Day for everybody,
No.
but
Jamie,
What
are
about
you
next
still-
Monday?
I'm done with travel until August, and I'll have classes start up, but
Monday
over
nights,
summer.
Monday the 20th?
Monday nights, or what nights, or?
there's some Monday nights in there, but it'll be mid-June, it'll basically be our first city council
So the next
meeting in
council
June,
meeting
so-
is the 10th.
Yeah.
And so
before
we
that,
have,
I'm good.
Did the 21st be fine?
Be fine by me.
I
Next
think
week.
she was hoping we could approve it in May so she could have some time to go ahead and start
Get all
working
these
with
Yeah,
it.
you said May
figures in,
21st.
yeah.
May, he said May.
Yeah, but
So next Monday, somebody mentioned next Monday
Next
night.
Monday
Is
or
next Monday
Tuesday.
night a problem for people?
No, that's fine for me.
next Monday, 6 o'clock.
That's the 20th.
That'll work. For me, that works.
Can we do it on
You guys done
Tuesday?
there? Well, he suggested it. Dale?
I'm good.
We're good. We're good over here.
We have ask if we can do it on the 21st instead of the 20th. Will the 21st work for everybody or not?
I don't know, maybe it would have been better, in my opinion, if we just hashed some stuff out tonight while we're all
Well, I
here.
can hash it tonight too. if
And I don't
that's what
mean
you want.
hash it out like in a negative way.
Well, I
but
get it.
We all may have some ideas that we could throw out there, and Becky
So we'll have a
can
midnight
pretty
meeting
much.
from 9 to midnight?
Yeah.
I mean,
we
I
gotta
think-
do it sometime.
We do have to do it sometime if that's what you wanna do.
Well,
I
if you don't
just,
wanna wait till next week, let's do it tomorrow night or
we
Wednesday
can do it
night.
right now
Everybody's
if you
got their-
want.
I can't do it tomorrow.
No, Wednesday night's not a good night.
No.
Tomorrow,
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Tuesday, I mean.
Thursday night. Whatever.
Well, Carolyn would like to do it now. Is everybody, are you prepared to do it now?
I don't care to do it another night either. I'm just saying we're all here and
I think it would help Becky if people, like Tammy, if you have questions, come in and talk to Becky. So she has an understanding of what you're coming at. I know other people have about the budget. It would help her to kinda get her finances and stuff to kinda line out where it is. But
Well,
We
just-
still, either way, I hope it's fine to say from our motion, we still said we have to set an amount. We haven't set that amount, right?
Correct.
So we need to do that at some point, and I don't know how we're gonna determine what the amount is. We need to know how much,
If you
as much
want-
as we can, basically.
So what, I guess at the council as a whole, what number are you looking at that you're wanting the budget to fit?
150,000.
That sounds, for the pool, you're saying?
Unless
Yeah,
we can do 2
sounds
million
good.
today.
I want more than what we're doing, for
So
sure.
if we do that, do you have areas besides where I've mentioned that you wanna take money from?
We can start chiseling away. I can start right now with the $15,000 in overtime at the golf course. I don't think we should ever be paying overtime at the golf course. There's an easy 15,000 for me. But then again, maybe I'm not reading this right. Current budget is not what you're saying we're doing, is not the amount. So where is the amount? You're be stupid.
Oh,
Yeah, but on
that
the
Excel
summary sheet.
spreadsheet.
Yeah, you have it on the
Tammy,
summary.
that's what I was
Okay,
saying
Right,
earlier.
okay,
And it hasn't
So this is
changed a
the
lot,
next
it hasn't changed a lot from that.
right.
Well, one thing I could ask real quick while she's looking at that, where I was confused, cause I thought when I asked on this sheet, the 325 YMCA utilities, then it says 30,000. I thought that's what we said, that's what we were paying for the lifeguards.
No,
So what is that one then?
because we own the YMCA building and we pay all the utilities there.
Oh, I did not know we owned
We
that.
Yes.
own that building and we pay all the utilities.
And they rent it essentially from us, or
No,
they
we
use it?
make no money.
We
Okay.
make, they don't pay us anything.
So it's like one of our parks, sort of, that we just pay for.
So why did this 30 not say 40? It's the same thing, right?
No.
On
What?
the
No.
summary,
It's
the
not.
30 and the
talking about
30,000
the utility?
expenses is,
The 30,000 is what we pay to the YMCA for utilities,
But it's
for the
not broken
building.
down there.
it isn't everything in this 40. I mean, the 40,000,
No,
The
because
expenses.
I mean, the 40,000 includes what we pay them for lifeguards.
and utilities
Is what our
though.
budget is.
Yes,
That's-
for the
That's for the
pool.
pool, that's utilities. for the pool.
7,000 for the
Oh, pool.
utilities
Yeah.
for the pool,
Right
yeah.
now.
Yeah,
Okay.
the
So the
YMCA
difference is
utilities has nothing to do with the
Oh,
pool.
yeah, it specifically does the utilities. Okay,
Yeah, it
thank
has
you.
nothing to do with
No.
the pool,
Yeah,
it's just the
okay.
YMCA
75
building.
minus 190.
I knew that, thank you.
Now, let me, when you guys are talking about moving money, so in capital expenditures, you'll have approximately 600,000 in revenue. Right now, with that proposed sheet I gave you, we would expense 450,000 in capital expenditures. You have money in there, but the capital expenditure fund is what we go to if we have emergency stuff come up during the year. So last year, we had an $80,000 blower at the treatment plant that had to be purchased. So if you decide to move that money, which I wouldn't advise, then you have nowhere for emergency situations that come up at the treatment plant or
And the
anywhere
well,
like
the
that.
well that went bad at the industrial park,
Yeah, anything,
60-some thousand.
anything that comes up emergency wise, we go to those capital expenditure funds.
Maybe this is a crazy thought, but say we put 150,000 in the pool fund. Okay, we have an emergent, we're not spending that 150,000 yet,
But if
right?
you set that aside for the pool and then we have a problem and you say, okay, we're gonna take the pool money, I think people are gonna be more upset about that
Yeah.
than they
Okay.
are if you
Right.
wait and put money in there that you can afford to put over there.
Well, we have to make a commitment.
So-
Either we make a commitment or just forget it. I mean, to me,
So Tammy, if you put $150,000 in a year, start with, how many years is it gonna take to build a $4.5 million pool?
we don't have to build a $4.5 million pool. You're talking about, what are you talking about, 450?
Well, can we
Or
stay,
4 to
look,
5
can we,
million.
can we
Well,
stick on the budget though?
Yeah,
Cause
I mean, if
those
you
are
wanna do that, that's
conversations
fine.
for another
Yeah.
time.
Well,
Yeah,
because
okay.
we're obviously not gonna be able to build one at 150,000 a year.
Well-
That's just showing a commitment.
To,
Mr. Mayor, do you want us to give you one item at a time to write down on this little, how we wanna do this,
okay.
going through these lines?
Sure.
Like, I'm gonna ask one question, can the, animal control be delayed 1 year on that vehicle, or what kind of state is that in?
I mean, it can be, if you prefer to do that, but
I don't know
it's,
the mileage of the year or nothing, but.
What
the
might
biggest
be-
issue with the animal control vehicle is, it's not really equipped to pick up big animals and put them in it, you're having to lift them up
I'm
to
gonna
the
give you
truck.
my thoughts on it. The swimming pool is in disrepair. No fault of the council here, that started years and years and years ago, but it's not kept. But I don't think, right now, we're talking about the city hall, it's falling apart, that's neglect years and years and years. Drive up and down our streets, I think we need to concentrate more on that kind of stuff, so we can get our water and sewer. I mean, swimming pool's nice, but if you gotta drive a gravel road to get there, and then you gotta bring your own water and your own, I mean, I think we need to focus more on the infrastructure, on where to put our money.
I agree.
Well, then, to some, no. The otherwise, we, can take some money out of the golf course and the airport fund. I'm confident we can do that and put it towards the pool. We have to make a commitment either, or get off the pot when it comes to the pool. We've been dancing around the pool here for how many years? My daughter was a lifeguard there 18 years ago. It had a lot of problems then. And we've never put a dime towards it.
And that's the reason it's in the shape that it's in.
Exactly, exactly.
But now it's to the point that it's done. We all agree.
We all know it's done for.
It's done. So if we put 150,000 a year back, 10 years from now, you're gonna have $1.5 million. A pool in 10 years is probably gonna cost you.
So to heck with the pool? We don't build one? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying, if it comes to me, my point, if I'm gonna put $1.5 million in 10 years, that's what I'm looking at.
Right.
We're gonna redo the sewer, got to, we know that. We've got road, we've got infrastructure, and people can say what they want to about me, but in my opinion, we've got bigger priority. We can't afford, let me put it this way, we don't have the money to build a pool.
I don't
We
think,
would
I
have if we hadn't
honestly
built-
don't think
spent it all
many
at the golf
cities
course
do.
too, Webb. I mean, come on.
We
Not
just
in a
budgeted
couple
We gotta
years.
start somewhere. That's my point. We need to start somewhere.
Well,
And throwing 20,000 at it is not a very good start.
150,000 is not a good start.
Tammy,
'cause you
can I,
don't
can I
have-
see if I'm relating to you or what you're thinking? Because this is what I'm thinking.
Right.
So yes, 150,000 isn't very much money when we're talking
Right.
about a new pool. But if we start putting some money back, not taking away from infrastructure,
Right.
We know that's priority,
Right.
but if them back, who's, what if we might receive a grant sometime that might be some matching money? Maybe we might have some money to be able to match something. What if there is I always say a Mr. Wilson, like with
Yeah,
the
exactly.
football field, that might want to help us.
Right.
I think until the city shows that we have a stake in this, and yes, we would like to have a new pool, but we need some help. We need some help securing funds.
Right.
We're starting here, we're putting back what we can. We're gonna try to do that every year. And hopefully, we're not talking about years and years. But until we do something, right, nothing's going to happen. And
Exactly.
I don't think Tammy is trying to say that putting back $150,000 a year is going to build a pool for us.
Right. Right.
Obviously, it isn't. But is that
That's
what you guys
exactly
are
how, I
thinking?
thank you, I think you read my mind.
So, yeah, we don't wanna take out a reserve, we don't, I know in Becky's admin report, she, said, in capital expenditures, I think this was your thought, we might wait till March or so, and if we haven't had any emergencies come up and we still have a good amount of money in there, then maybe we can move some of that over also. But we have to start somewhere. We've been talking about it
Yes.
for a long, long
Yes.
time, and
Yes.
when we just keep saying, well, how do you plan to pay for it, or something like that, nothing is ever gonna
We're
happen.
not, haven't been serious about it, I don't feel like, yes.
But, so, anyway, that's my thought.
Can I ask Becky one question? When I was trying to think about this, when we talk about this grant that we have that we might be able to get for 500,000,
So that's through the Land and Water Conservation Fund, and the maximum amount that you can get is 500,000. And I contacted SCOCOG, which is the agency that we use for all of our grants, and he said currently that is the only grant out there for swimming pools.
that's maximum for one project, not
Maximum 500,000. I talked to him about anybody in the area that has one right now, and the city of Mountain View is rehabbing their pool with Land and Water Conservation Fund grants, and what they got was 283,000 is what they got. And
because it
What's
wasn't
the
a new
match
one
to that,
probably.
Becky?
they are, it's 238,000 is what City of Mountain View got. And Trent with SCOCOG told me that, their bids right now are 750,000. And what they're gonna do is, put a new liner in their pool and redo all the concrete on the deck. That doesn't include anything at the bathhouse or anything. And the bids were right at 750.
I questioned specifically on it though, because I know you said when we get a grant, you have to pay
You have to
prevailing
match it.
wage.
And it's prevailing.
So does that make the entire project prevailing wage, or only like that 500,000 worth?
No,
The whole
So then in that case, it's really not worth it to get it, because it may make
It's out of
our
reach.
$4 million pool, $6 million pool if the whole thing's prevailing wage.
yeah,
So
if you
we're-
get grant money, you have to pay prevailing.
So that's what I wonder, if it's the whole project, or only, we'll say
Well-
this 500,000, part of the project,
When you
okay.
bid it out, you have to bid it out.
So that makes it, is that accurate in your mind to say it makes it unreasonable to even, because it's probably
It
gonna
about doubles.
doubles the
price.
pool, so
At least the
500,000.
labor cost of it about doubles
Yeah.
what you could normally get somebody local.
So really, we don't want it, is that kind of what the grant?
I mean, for the amount of money you're talking about, you probably are, the city probably won't ever be able to do it without some grant money.
But you know what I mean, if we can get 500,000, but then it's gonna raise
it's
the
only
price
a
2
five-
million, we're
Yeah.
negative 1.5 kind of, or
Yeah.
roughly.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So
And,
we could bid somebody local-ish and get, and that may be what we need to get within the next few years, if we start putting money together, put real numbers that see how, if we could lessen to build a nice pool at not prevailing wage and get normal local people to do it. I don't know, maybe we could get it down to 2 million, I don't know, hopefully.
is the
I have
way
no
that they
idea.
redid their pool an option for us?
I don't know, because
Okay.
I know the basics of it. I think if you guys are wanting to look at those options, we're at that point now where you
Okay.
probably wanna
I
look at
didn't
some
think
other,
we had any
have
of
some,
those,
a
but-
professional company come in and evaluate what we have. I don't know with the issues at the bottom if the liner, I don't know. I don't know.
Here's
right
a-
to that.
Right,
You've got $40,000 for building demolition
Yes,
in here. Now with the DNR being contacted on it, and the asbestos repair wants to take that 40 grand and put it in the pool fund.
There you go.
You would
I
have,
still wanna visit the overtime at
So
the
we
golf
got Eddie,
course too.
Tammy.
But,
I'd rather keep that 40,000 doing what it's doing with the
Back to 40.
asbestos and whatnot. That's more of a health and safety. I think that's something we
we
need
can't,
to
we can't
continue.
tear them.
yeah,
Well,
you can
we
tear them
can.
down. The only difference is that you have to have them, inspected for asbestos. You notify DNR, 10-day, notice, and then you have to do a wet demolition according to their guidelines.
And that was one of our goals a number of years ago for those on the council then, was to try to clean up the town, to make it a town that other people would be drawn to, whether it be businesses or
Okay, now,
families or.
that's, and that's a good project, but I'm gonna fall back to our streets again. Have you drove the streets of Mountain Grove? They're terrible.
Yeah,
I mean,
and we have
driving
some
down
money
Bush
that
Street, I
we're
left the
trying
front
to
end of my
help do
car
it
in a
if
hole.
we can, yeah.
you know, poor people on 7th Street, every time they get a hole patched in it, the water department's gotta come and dig it up because it's got another water leak in it.
It's one of the
You
worst.
know.
But is the streets out of the transportation fund where this is out of the general fund, or is it, that they could be out of the same fund?
I mean, you can use out of the general fund towards the streets.
The
But I didn't know
65,000,
if we're
is that
talking-
what you got figured for street repair, pothole repair and everything? That, to me, that's like throwing a golf ball at an asteroid falling from the sky. You
What
know,
amount, Mark, did you say the watts, the 60 watt?
65,000 here on 700, 410, 7201.
So what we will try to do as we do those mill and overlays is do the same thing that we were gonna do, grant funding to help us do the, as long as you do the water, the sewer, and the mill and overlay, we qualify for that grant, and that's what we're gonna
And
start
that-
with
yeah,
on Maple Street
but
is.
That's a
doing
start, but, I mean,
But
we've got
that's-
a lot of streets in town.
And it's major expense.
I mean,
mill
Wall
and
Street has a
overlays
lot
are
of
$2 a
truck
foot.
traffic on it, and it's,
So-
it's like riding a washboard.
7th Street
Hovis,
is bad.
7th Street,
Yeah.
Maple Street,
But those are, every one of those that you're mentioning, when we do this, it's not just a matter of doing the street, we gotta do the water and the sewer lines
yeah,
with it.
absolutely right.
Because the water and sewer lines are in the streets, and
Yeah.
that's a lot of.
I remember when they
problems.
repaved West Fifth Street down there. 2 weeks later, they dug it up to repair a water line, brand new street, and
Yeah, Bo knows all too well, we've done
Right.
that all over town.
Right.
And those have got to be moved when we redo these. And I fully expect when we get done with the lead thing that they're having the water department do right now, that has to be completed by October, that you're probably gonna start seeing them start cracking down on all of that being taken care of.
Mandatory remove all those lead pipe.
And that's going into people's homes, that's not city lines, that's going into people's homes, and we don't do that part, so. Would you, if you're not wanting, so is it the feeling of the whole council, is there a dollar amount that you want me to revamp this to go towards the pool?
Wouldn't it be hard to set a dollar amount until we've actually
I mean, it's
see
obviously,
what can be,
I
what
think-
can be pulled?
I think we're pretty, I mean, we haven't researched, maybe a renovation project up there would be, I mean, you've got everything there. Find out how much a renovation costs. I mean, we're right here, it's just been thrown at us and we haven't researched what repairs are gonna cost or anything like that. I think that's something that should be researched. We know the pool's gonna be closed next year. Do some or this year, 24, 25. Do some research on it and find out what it's gonna cost. It may be a realistic project to just renovate it versus building a new one.
yeah,
But
we
I
don't have enough information.
I think just making
Yeah.
a quick decision, I think, you know, if we do like it's talked about, take the 150, leave it where it's at, and then if we see if it's a realistic goal that we can do something with it, move it over there.
I think the public needs to see us make some real commitment here, is what I think. And I don't think 150 is unrealistic. And waiting till next March to evaluate that, that's almost a year. I wanna see us put the money into the pool fund, whether we renovate it or have to rebuild. I think that if we make a commitment, the community will get behind us and support whatever we need to do if we make the commitment.
So tell me, are you saying put that for anything else? Just it's in the pool.
They're
fund.
telling me we can't do
It's about,
that.
but a council, if we move it around, 'cause
It would
Yeah.
move it, it
If
just,
if we chose to, we can do it, but
Okay.
she was just suggesting it might be worse to put it in there and take it out than to
I,
not put it on.
I, it would be a very drastic, I think, to have to take it out. I would think it would be an emergency.
Or should we meet in
But-
the middle and see if we can scrape 100 and then try to do 50 more in March? That kind of what we're,
That's what I'm
some
thinking
kind
is,
of
because
compromise.
a lot of things that we're talking about, we say, oh, let's not do that and take everything from that fund and move it. Like, do we have to take everything from each one of these places?
No.
Or can we take some from multiple places
Yes.
to put it in the fund and do something like 100,000 right now? And then be able to do some more research, cause I'm of the same opinion as a lot of this is very fresh and new, and I can feel Carolyn, like, she's probably not gonna say it, but this is an I told you so for Carolyn, cause she's been working on this
Right.
pool,
Yes, yeah.
educating people about how it's not gonna be there forever and we can't wait, and we've waited, and now here we are.
Right.
So, but I do think that a more substantial amount into that fund would show our seriousness towards developing a solution, but maybe not the 150, because it seems that we're now talking about having to eliminate important things altogether, which it's gotta be a blend of things. We can't just say like,
Right.
oh, we need a pool, so let's stop doing all these other things and just do the pool. I mean, that's not realistic. But, that's not what you're asking for either. I think it's we're trying to find realistic places to pull some of the funding from some of these other things and maybe not as be aggressive with condemned housing or as aggressive with some of these other things to be able to pull some of those funds into the pool fund.
Okay, so Tammy, you wanna make the motion?
What am I making a motion for? That we put
How
more
about-
money, that we not accept the budget? I don't know what you're making.
How about
Sorry.
we just hold off on the first reading?
I think
Let
that's-
me see where I can make some adjustments and
I'll
present
come see ya.
proposed budget at the next meeting. And you can do first and second
And we can
reading.
do the first and second
And in
reading.
the meantime, if you have specific areas of concern, come and see me before I present that to the
Okay.
council, and we'll try to make
Okay.
sure I get everybody's
And y'all
concerns out of
Yeah,
it.
cause now I feel like I need to look through it with a
Right.
different vantage point,
Right.
Yes.
with the needs being different now, so.
Are there any
Okay.
other, besides the pool, is there any other issues in the budget that you wanna see addressed?
$40,000 on the demolition of housings. I'd like to see it moved to streets. I know it's been a good program, but I think taking a year off is not gonna hurt anything. I noticed the demolition list had mainly sheds and stuff on it. It does help the town, but once again, I'm gonna fall back, if you can't drive the streets in town, ain't nobody gonna wanna come here.
So, when we talk about some of those sheds and stuff that need to be demolished, can't we just try some code enforcement first on some of those?
Yeah,
Right.
I think that should be the first step prior
Danny
to.
loves me back there.
And he's like, gee, thanks, yeah.
I'm trying to get you out of the haying business, so, you know,
Okay,
try to compromise.
I'm getting a lot of Christmas lights this year.
You
What
just
else?
got added to my list.
so we all got a homework to go home and find some money.
Does everybody kind of agree with what Mark's saying on the demolition?
And these outbuildings, do we have to get DNR involved in an outbuilding?
Anything?
Any
anything,
demo.
any bill.
Really?
If we can get the homeowners to, now, can we get the homeowners, if they tear it down, do they have to get DNR too?
Yeah, but it's on them on the
But it's
cost.
on them and not
Okay.
us.
Do you
Because,
have to tell them that?
Yes.
oh, yeah.
Oh.
Because the
Check it,
deal is,
just check it.
if,
Yeah, it's on-
Mark, you
Sorry.
said before when you had or someone come in and look, if there was asbestos, it was $200 or $300.
Yeah, it's like
That's a
$300
lot.
to test.
That's a long time ago.
Oh,
And
yeah.
to
it
do,
was-
and to an abatement, they gotta wear the suits and all that, and that's cause it's an outside company.
He said a lot of times you don't end up doing the abatement, depending on what it is, you just end up having to do a wet demolish.
Which we can do, yeah.
But now who does that?
The fire department.
They'll go down and
They need to
put
work harder
a
too.
fog in the air to drop the dust down. It wets that dust down and it doesn't get in the air.
And then you said what they'll do is then they just bag it up in plastic and throw it in the,
That's what he told me in
can the
the past.
traco put it in the dumpster then and haul it away?
I think so.
as long as it's.
It's gonna cost more because it's heavier. It's gonna weigh more, take less.
But
weigh
we do
more.
have to
Okay.
pay DNR to come down, and we have to pay them to come do an inspection.
Imagine that.
Well, I personally hate to see that go, just because like.
Well,
it-
I'm not saying,
Maybe a couple-
Yeah,
I'm
I
not,
mean,
Maybe half
it's
of it.
just important, I think, for our city. We've come so far, you know,
Right.
and
Well, how
Um,
many
but
have we
streets are
demolished
more
this
important
last
to
year?
just-
We ended up with 6 that we demolished this year.
And then there's a list here. of
And that's
what-
about average of what we end up with, Mark, isn't it? Because most of them, we start with about
6.
10 or 12.
yeah, and then they
And
go
the
ahead.
homeowners usually tear them down or.
Yeah.
but
whatever.
sometimes they come in and I'm gonna do this, I'll do that. Does that happen? So we give them or we don't give them an extension, council doesn't, but they get an extension. And then they drag their feet
Yeah.
and they never do anything, I'm not saying that's all of them.
Yeah.
But sometimes the list that we originally see isn't, all of them aren't demolished.
Right.
Anyway, I hate to see that go.
I
I'd
really
like to
think we
see us.
could double that. I really do.
Oh, yeah.
I
don't
mean,
know-
I know
don't
what you're
know
saying
why-
about
We're-
streets.
I don't
Streets
know
are gonna
why
be-
we
for
haven't
sure.
doubled
I don't
that.
think it'd
Certainly
hurt
will
taking
never
a year
go.
off. I mean, you're just taking a
I
year
agree.
off. That's not dissolving the program, you're just taking a year off.
We've done
And
it
then start it
every year
back
for the
in.
last, we started 5 years ago.
6.
Oh, longer than
yeah,
that.
5 or 6, yeah.
It was after.
Well, no, when Rick was here, I've done 2
Oh,
on.
yeah, cause you guys did it through
Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
where the homeowners signed up through
Right.
that program before.
I
No,
don't think it would
we
hurt to
just-
take a year off.
There was 2 houses over on Darrell and Ninth where Mike's garage is now.
Oh,
One of
yeah,
them had a
that's
fire
right.
and one of them was just falling down and
Yep.
done them.
So
But
it's
see,
been-
DNR won't let you burn them like you used to either.
Mm.
No, that's the thing, they won't let you burn them, they give you permission to do the one, but they won't let you do that. Now, if you, well, I won't say that. Down there, that one place that burnt, the homeowner burned it, brush pile against the house, it
Yeah,
accidentally burnt.
yeah, accidents happen.
Okay,
It's a
so
fire.
is everybody in favor of waiting a year on the demolition stuff?
I am.
Move some of
Oh,
that
we
money
need to
over?
vote. I make a motion, we wait a year on the demolitions. Is that what we need?
I need a motion.
I mean, I don't,
We'll
if
make a
you
motion
guys
to
want
do
me
that.
to, if it's kind of the consensus of the council, I'll just
Okay.
take money out of that area
Yep.
and present it for you next month.
So these
And
we've
put
already
it in
got
the
on the
street.
list, we're
The
not gonna do
program's still in
that.
place, it's just no
We
funding
would
this
not,
year.
if
Right, so
you,
it
because
doesn't
those
kill
would
it.
be done in this
Right.
fiscal year, so those would go
What do we
away.
ever do with the building right over here?
It's on that list.
But we
on
can
this
go one
list?
at a
If they're
time,
done in
and
this
won't kill
fiscal
it.
year,
Right.
then
If it's
Keep it-
extreme.
It'll be-
we could include them
It's
in
a
the next
non-funded
fiscal
item.
year, then
Or
we'd
do
be
we
taking
wanna,
2 years off.
again, compromise and keep a
Well-
couple on?
So,
These are the ones that will be coming up in the fiscal year that you're getting ready to approve the budget
well,
for,
I thought
because
you
by the
said
time,
this fiscal year.
by the time we go through the process, it'll be the next fiscal year.
Okay, well, will we have extra money in the budget? Do we plan on doing 2 rounds of them? 2 rounds in this current budget?
23-24 budget.
This will not take everything that you have budgeted in there,
So how
This-
much
this
do you
round.
expect we'll have
Well,
left?
depending
That
on
was
what the
prior to the
commercial building.
asbestos thing.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
I don't know how much that's gonna add to it.
Cause I can bet you the house on West 8th Street's got it.
Yeah.
Well, we might look in to see what else we can, you know, put on hold for a year. Sorry. You know, we're
Well, do
all
we-
passionate about different things, but streets, I really like streets too, Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I
that's-
really like
So-
I
streets.
think they're
Or
important.
again, if-
Well,
So
maybe
why don't I, so
do we-
why don't I come up with some changes and email it out to everybody, over the next couple of weeks, and then you guys take time to look at it, make some suggestions before we actually get to the next
Right.
meeting, so we
Okay.
don't spend as much time
Because in the
on it
next
at
meeting, we
next
probably will
meeting.
have to vote to do away
Right.
with the houses, with that or whatever.
Well,
Or
you
even
won't
just
have
a
to,
scaled
because I-
down
we'll
version.
just have to vote for
Again,
the-
we
Yeah,
keep
we
talking
don't
about
have
like
to
all
take-
or nothing,
Yeah,
and we can do less. We don't have to do none, and so
So
I
we won't
think
have to vote on it if you
All
just
I'm,
there might
tweak
be
the
some
budget and
priorities
approve the budget.
on this
just let me
list.
tweak the budget a little bit.
All right, let him tweak
and
the
we'll
So
budget.
see.
we need a
Okay.
workshop
Okay.
then before that, so we don't have another lengthy, long meeting?
I mean, why don't I send it out by email, and then if you guys feel like you need to get together after I send it out by email, then we'll have another meeting.
Okay.
If you
Can
don't,
Do you want us to
Will
come
you
and see
highlight
you
the-
So
before
what
then
I-
or after?
so what I'm gonna do with this one, when you get this through email, that last column, I'm gonna go ahead and fill that in.
Okay,
So,
That'd be good.
so you
That
will
would be
have
good.
that. Guys kind of work through some of this, so that last column will be filled in on the one that you get, and that way it'll be easier for you to.
Perfect, thank
That'd be
you.
great, yeah.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Well, when
Okay.
do we, bring up the employee health insurance?
That's part of this, I mean, I have it budgeted in to
Okay.
do it.
Cool.
It's whether or not you guys want to approve that.
And are we
Oh,
talking
what was
about
our
that, or?
difference?
The only thing you'll have to do is that you will have to
Change the.
handbook,
Yeah.
correct.
Are we looking at different insurance companies?
Well, our insurance won't renew until January, so we would start that process. I was just having that conversation with Dale today. It takes months when you would change an insurance, like for all of our buildings, all of our liability, health insurance, everything. If we just do the health insurance though, getting the census out to them and getting information back takes a while. You at least wanna start a minimum of 3 months before renewal date. So that's why it's important to go ahead and do it July 1, we know, and that way we can go, Kim can start working on contacting.
After
We
the-
already actually have some agencies that have contacted us wanting to bid.
Okay.
We haven't put our insurance out for bid for a while, so
Long time.
it's time.
But-
It's time.
Okay, so we are gonna do that.
Yeah.
Is that a
Okay.
motion item, or it's just gonna be happening?
That will need a
Administration.
motion because, right now, the way you guys have it set up, we would not,
I move that we look at our business liability and all that insurance plus the healthcare.
Are you wanting to change all that, or just the health?
the health is the only thing that's gonna affect the budget because, as far as, changing it for the employees to where the employees that were hired after 2018 will have healthcare available to
And
them.
Dale, it's in the budget, that increase, right?
I'm looking at after July to December to give her like 3 months to gather
Right.
information. This ain't what we're doing today, that's
Do you
already in the
wanna,
budget.
do you wanna do that now, or do you wanna wait
Well,
till July?
If he
do
wants to
that?
go ahead and vote to
Okay.
put it out for bid, that's good.
I want you, yeah, we gotta take some 2 or
Okay.
3 months to do all this shopping to get those, gotta get the best bids. And you said some of these are bundled and some are not bundled.
Correct.
Can I
And
ask a
we haven't
question
shopped
about
in
the
years.
health before you are done with, or I mean, before you make a motion and we skip out of that? On the health,
Mm-hmm.
so since we can't see a total, what's the impact on that? I mean, since they're
It's
pulled out of different
the-
accounts and
The total for the entire budget is right at 100,000, a little over 100,000. And
on
it
the health
varies,
insurance
mhm,
addition.
for an entire year, so it ends up being about $10,000 a month is what it, ends up being.
10,000 extra
Mhm.
a month
Mhm.
for
And it's,
the
and that's why I
employees
say,
to, be on the
yes,
level.
and that's why I say it's a full amount, because, it's hard to tell you offhand what the departments are
Right.
because of the number of
Right,
employees.
right,
at each
that's why I was
department.
asking, because, yeah, we have no way of knowing that, and I
No,
wondered
it'll be
that.
right at 100,000,
And the
and it-
savings to
Oh.
bid it out, maybe that, because
well, the
what we have
savings to
now
bid
is
it
a
out
lot.
may save us that much, I don't know
Right.
how much difference
Cause
we'll have.
it's a lot higher.
And the difference is, and so a question that Dale asked me today too, he said, well, isn't it gonna start costing us more over the years? But it won't, because, everybody's gonna be on the same scale, cause we pay the health insurance for everybody that's here now, so you're not increasing more costs other than this initial cost to get those employees on there, so. It just feels really unfair not to have the same benefits available to all the employees, to me.
You mean at premiums they can afford, they can add their family on now, right? The employee can add their family, the premiums are just too high.
Yeah,
That's,
grandfathering them in the same way we pay grandfathered employees, and we don't on anybody after 2018.
Some have it, some don't, yeah.
Right.
Right, okay.
So Dale, you wanna finish that motion now?
I'll start over. I get my head
He
over-
forgot what he
well,
said.
it
I don't
was
know if I
on,
forgot or
it was
not,
on
but-
all of everything other than the health, yeah.
We have 2 policies basically, or health insurance, we're talking about the liability, because she said some of those are bundled.
Correct.
So I want us to do, gather bids or get,
Mhm.
proposals from insurance companies for both of those, if they're bundled or not bundled.
Okay.
And I'd like to see a good, better, best comparison on our healthcare.
Okay.
Deductible, staircase level, whatever.
Okay, have a second?
Second.
Mark seconded. Mark, how do you vote?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Okay, all right. Any more questions on the budget before we move to new business? Okay,
Oh, we all lived through that.
Mr. Bailey is here, Temple Drive street condition. Mr. Bailey,
Yes,
come right on up. If you'll state your name and your, address, please.
Of course. My name is Ronald Bailey. I live on 1707 Temple Drive. I've lived here now for 14 years, and my street is in very bad condition. And I'll give kudos to whoever I talked to that carried forward and filled in some of the potholes, because the potholes are really bad, but half of the road, half of the street has been filled in, which I deeply appreciate, because they are not to the extent that it's gonna damage your car,
Right.
but, it's awful to drive in potholes, and you all have probably experienced that, so you know what it's like, right? And it's considerably worse than it was when I moved here 14 years ago. And that street is a one-way street. It consists of duplexes, in which I live one of them. And I think, if I remember right, there are about 6 duplexes on the west side. There's nothing on the east side at all. And these duplexes run between, Temple Drive that I live on is between the MSU campus and the Baptist church, okay? And, I don't know what's happening, but like I say, the potholes have been filled with asphalt. But if you go over the next street west of Temple Drive, that's called Rosewood. It is fully asphalted. There is no potholes in it at all. And I don't know, I can't understand what the difference is there.
So,
And,
She's gonna tell you.
well, I'm just talking to some of my staff, so
Yeah.
I was the one that you talked to.
okay.
And Bo, our street supervisor's been over there, they're working on the patching, there's potholes all over town, so they're
Okay,
working on
okay.
that right now.
Right,
So they are the ones that's been over there.
okay, good.
But the way it was explained to me was when the developer did that and they turned it over to the city, they are supposed to do the street the way it should be done before it gets turned over to the city. And that was not done at the time, is my understanding.
So the developer that developed the ones on Rosewood fulfilled his promise or
Correct.
contract or whatever, but
Correct.
my landlord or the ones that own those properties did not?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
It wasn't the city that actually did it, the developer did, and didn't put the street in to specs. So there's certain specifications they're supposed to meet when they put the street in, and they didn't do that.
Okay.
So now you're reaping the benefits of that. I
And Mr.
mean,
Bailey, and it may not be the person who built them. Whoever built them may have done something and sold them or whatever, so it may
Yeah,
not be.
well,
right.
there are, I don't know how many different ownerships there are along
Right.
those duplexes. But
yeah, I think there's
I have
several.
one, my landlord owns 2 of them. The one next to me is owned by another person.
But the landlord may not have even been the developer. You
Right,
know, the
right.
person that
Yeah, I
actually
can
developed
appreciate
them
that.
might
I
be
can
somebody
appreciate that.
different. And I don't know when that was done, I just know that's what I was told.
Well, there is also a big pile of gravel at the very end of the street.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why that's there, because that wasn't there initially, or at least not, certainly not when I first moved in. It's been
Right.
over the last couple of years. I don't know what the purpose of having all that gravel is there. Looks like that could be used somewhere else, if they're not gonna use it on my street.
Is that anything of ours, Bo, or is that just something?
The street actually only goes down to about MSU, and then the rest of it's basically kind of a gravel road,
Okay,
is what that is from there.
Well, now, it's asphalt to past MSU.
Is it,
Like
it's
a-
not real far past it.
No, not too
No,
far.
there's a
Not to
little,
my house.
that little creek
About the 1707
drainage
where I
ditch,
live.
and then it stops there, it's a drainage just called.
Right, right. Now, like I say, there are not a lot of people that live on that street, which I know affects things, but I didn't know about the thing about the developer and all of that.
right. Well, at the time I spoke with you, I hadn't had a chance to speak with them yet to find
Right,
that out,
right.
so.
So is there any solution for me to that?
Well, I mean, the best solution right now is that we're gonna try to keep the potholes patched over there to make it as good as we can for you right now.
Okay,
It will be placed on the list of street priorities.
sure, I understand that.
And
Back this
we're
way,
working
there's
on all that
drainage
priority
ditch.
list at this time, and I'm not
Okay.
sure where that will
Big
land on
concrete
there.
culvert on back.
But I can tell you that the amount that it gets used kinda sets some of our
Yeah.
priorities as far as which streets get done
Okay,
in
so
what
you're
order.
paved
So once we
until
get
you
that
to there.
set, I can kinda share that with you a little more, but in the meantime, the best we can do is try to keep the potholes patched.
Okay.
You
Well,
know, do
that
the best-
in itself helps a lot.
Okay.
But I did something the other day before coming to this meeting, because I wanted to be fully prepared and know what I was talking about. I drove over every street in Mountain Grove. I either drove down it or viewed it where I could see the whole street.
Right.
My street is the worst in town, and I don't want that. I don't think any of you would want that either. And so, whatever can be done, you know, I would appreciate it. And what I've done is, before you guys started filling those potholes, I filled my potholes in front of my place myself. And I used the gravel that was in the street, and borrowed a shopping cart from Country Mart,
Oh my goodness.
and hauled my own gravel and filled in my own potholes.
Oh my.
Oh my goodness.
But that's beside the point. Because that was before anything had happened. And like I say, I greatly appreciate what has been done at this point. I am. And I love this town. I've lived here for 14 years, and I've lived in a lot of places, and many cities, some small towns. I grew up in Northwood, Missouri, where we only had 150 people in town. So I've experienced the big and the small. But I like this town very much, and I'll be here until I croak probably. Okay.
Good.
But I would appreciate anything you could do.
Thank
Okay. Thank you for your time. I
Thank
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And nothing at all we can do back on the developer. We just have to learn from it for the future
Yeah, we shouldn't have
developing
took the
things.
street over.
Yeah, so
No.
now we
And
know,
it's
we'll make
partly-
sure that didn't happen
And
again.
it's partly, you know, gravel, I mean, and to do that, redo the bottom and do it, and you're
We have
talking
to
lots of money.
separate it. It's not, it really is pretty much.
Yeah.
the same.
You'd have to, it'd be a job, wouldn't it, Bud? Take that all up and redo it
Just
with,
mill it just like they would an asphalt street, just go in and mill it and then overlay it.
when you talk about milling it, what are you saying? You tear all that off?
They go in and grind a certain amount down,
Yeah.
then leave a good base underneath of it and then overlay it.
But if it's partly gravel, it don't have any asphalt in it.
Yeah, well, they just mill it, make it all level and then overlay it from there. That's basically what they would do on the gravel part.
All right. Mr. Fisk on 315 South Oak, is he here? Okay. All right, moving right along. The next is City Pool, Michelle Harrington, if you wanna come on up. Just state your name and your address and go on, okay?
My name is Michelle Harrington, and I live at 302 Sammy Lane in Mountain Grove. So hello, aldermen, alderwomen, mayor, city administrator, and people of the community. I have lived and worked in this community my whole life. My husband Derek and I bought our house almost 16 years ago this year, and we've not only raised our 3 beautiful girls in our home, but we've also had numerous foster children and other at-risk youth in our home since. Sorry, I've not done this before, so I'm a little nervous. I take pride in my town, and I would generally say I love living here with my family. We volunteer regularly with low-income programs, volunteer coach sporting events at the YMCA, help with the Agape Baseball League. And if you've not ever gone and seen that, like, you need to. It is the funnest thing. It's a league for sheltered, workshopped, and of anyone with a disability to play softball and have fun. That comes up in September, so keep that on your schedule. We donate time and money to many organizations in our community. I only say this to introduce myself and tell you where my heart leads to. I did not grow up with a lot of money, and one of the things that we could afford, like most citizens in Mountain Grove, was a pool, and we still have our birthday parties there for our children. I took time to read many reports and comments about the closing of the pool, and honestly, it's heartbreaking to see the hurt the community is facing with the pool closing. This might not affect some of your families, as you're fortunate enough to have a pool at home, able to take family vacations, drive your family to the lake or creek, go golfing, and the list of others can go on and on and on. The average income for the household in Mountain Grove from the year 2021 was $34,474 with a population of 4,386. Imagine living poorer than that. Many families that go to the pool scrounge up the change that are able to afford their children to even go to the pool. If you've ever worked with children, I call it kid money. where they literally take it out of their pocket and hand it to you, and it's that crinkly dollar bill or change that might not even equal what they're supposed to have. Many of these families, that is their day-to-day money. They don't have the money to go anywhere else. Children Division caseworkers have spoken out during this summer. The pool was used for a safe place for these kids to go to. Safety plans were in place to utilize the pool during the summertime to bond with their children, to de-stress, keep their kids busy, all while ensuring safety of these children while they're not in school. Many families were not raised to handle stress well, and the pool closing now adds that stress to these families. Many low-income families do not have the support system in place to get a break. They say it takes a village, and though it might not look like it, the pool was their only village. These families cannot afford to send their teens to burn energy and aggression out at Fun City, as it's unaffordable to them. Many families believe our city government is out of touch with much of the population. Speaking to many people this last week, many comments were about the taxes and the surrounding areas with less tax having better pools. I don't want a better pool, I just want a pool. Willis Springs is at 7.662%, Ava at 8.224%, Kabul 8.475%, and Mansfield, I don't know if this is correct because I found two different numbers, 7.475, but I got those all off of the Missouri State Tax website. They have a less tax rate with less population than our beautiful city. All other towns have less sales for sales tax than Mountain Grove, with Ava being the second because they have a Walmart in their town. They have nicer facilities than us, even with the above statistics, and why the town constituents believe it's due to better handling of our tax dollars. They are aggravated that the online sales tax has been added to our ballot numerous times and feel like it's because it's getting voted down, the city is holding the pool hostage. I don't believe that, but that is what they believe. Comments like, this might not be the case, however, March's meeting seems to have solidified their opinions of this from comments like, people need to start giving money because the city can't afford to pay for a new pool, and to go around and ask for donations when the police and parks have brand new expensive vehicles. That money might be delegated for those things, but the communities don't know that. They don't see where the budget's coming from. The golf course has been asking for donations for years, so why is the conversation just now being brought up when the city has known about this for over 9 years, that something had to be done to fix the pool? I will not even speak on the golf course and the uproar this has caused from the town, because it's like beating a dead horse that falls on deaf ears. The pool didn't deteriorate overnight. The pool house wasn't a danger to the people overnight. So why was the city not budgeting this before? This is embarrassment to the city council. 14 youth had a job at the pool, my oldest included. 14 youth have been let down by the city, and what makes you think that they would want to stay and support a city after losing a job for no fault of their own? I have raised my children to work hard for them to get what they want. My oldest, Zoe, she is 15, and she had 3 jobs lined up for this summer. Now she only has 2, but she'll make something work. As all my knowledge of the grants, the city would have to show good faith to have some funds set aside to be in order to get that grant. Some of these questions have already been asked for or answered. On behalf of the community, can the violation report be made available to the public? It has been said that the violations at this time only include the pool house. Can the pool be utilized without the use of the pool house? And I would like to hear from the city today, from the council today, what your intentions are for the pool. Be honest with your community. Do you have a plan in place for a new pool, and what is that timeline? Since the older at-risk youth, which Danny can probably attest to this, they get a lot of phone calls from these at-risk kids from the city pool, but at least it was confined to the city pool. Since the older at-risk youth do not have any other activities within city limits they can afford, what does the city have in place to manage the negative impacts that this will entail, such as crime, abuse, and neglect? And that is all I have.
Can we ask any questions or anything?
That's up to the council. It's your meeting. If you wanna open it up, that's up to you, but, I mean,
When I was a kid, way back in the dark ages, we all went to the pool. It bothers me that our numbers at the pool are way down. Now, I'm a total pool, I support it 1,000%. My question is, why do you think the people haven't been coming to the pool in the last few years very much?
Because they have better pools in Willow, Ava, Houston.
Kabul's pool's always
Kabul.
full, but ours has very little people. Kabul has a real basic pool. It's no better than ours.
Well, it
Unless
has two,
our-
it has a big slide,
Right?
and it has two diving boards on the side.
It's two,
Two diving boards. They have
Okay.
a section set aside just for the diving boards.
and you think that's enough to get people to go there? Or do you, I mean, I'm just trying to understand, okay?
Well, I think the kids like the big slides.
Okay.
They really do.
Okay.
And it might just be,
I
you
mean,
know,
we have slides at ours. We have two slides.
and there's no area really
Small
for our, I
slides,
mean,
yes.
there's that little section for the little kids to begin with, but when they had the kiddie pool, which is gross as that little kiddie pool was, I'm not complaining that that little kiddie pool is not there anymore.
Right,
But
right.
the splash pad was not an option. That's concrete, where I've seen many kids slip and fall and hit their heads on that splash pad. That was not a very good solution for that area over there at all.
Okay, okay, I'm
No, that's
trying
fine.
to figure out why people didn't use our pool.
See, we always did, my kids do, my kids always went, you know, and then it might just, I don't know, maybe location of the pool.
Maybe it is the location, I don't know.
That have suggested, if we got a new one, a lot of people have asked about moving it to a different one.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's,
Right.
that, I think that might be it. It's not, really, since the shoe factory's not, I mean, it's not businesses over there, there's not, I mean, it's in a residential area.
It's not
As
handy.
opposed to on Main Street
Well,
where it's
Kabul's
easier
not-
to walk to.
Right.
Yeah, Kabul's is kind of out of the way
not
too.
very convenient location
Yeah.
either for people in Mountain Grove, but I know that a lot of more people go there, and I just,
Yeah.
If you drive to Kabul, why wouldn't you drive 4 blocks? I don't understand that.
I don't drive to Kabul. I only go there when I had kids' birthday parties, so I
I'm
don't
being
know that.
honest here.
I am too, that's
Everybody
why I'm
says-
asking.
Everybody says, well, we go to Kabul. Well, if you will drive to Kabul, why in the world wouldn't you drive 4 blocks? I don't get it.
I don't either.
You know, when we had pool, we didn't care where it's at. By George, we got there.
Yeah, I just,
We walked.
well, my daughter was a lifeguard 18 years ago, and she had to ride a bicycle and a helmet. I'm sure she took that helmet off the minute I was outside, but she was a lifeguard when she had to ride a bicycle over there. They say that hill's kind of not fun.
okay, any other comments from the council? Thank you.
Copies of that stuff you
Thanks.
were asking about, just come by City Hall tomorrow, we'll make a copy of it.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Uh,
I don't have any,
Destiny Hutzel,
I don't have any comments, you guys
Okay.
kind of answered some of mine.
okay. Storm drain on Front Street, Administrator?
I had put it in the report, did any of you get a chance to drive by there and take a look at it?
Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gotta be done. I mean, this is a safety thing, getting that closed up. We do have cones around it right now, but the biggest issue we have over there, and Bo can kind of speak to this, is it's right there next to where the trucks all are at for the feed mill. And they're driving over the corner of that, and that's what's busted that so bad. So, Bo, do you wanna tell them kind of what you're wanting to do there on the end of that?
I just wanna put a piece of old well casing up in there, that way they can't cut that corner. Or if they do cut the corner, they're gonna know it.
And you wanna replace that whole, it's kind of the top of the side?
Well, it's
Yeah.
part of the drain
Yes.
itself, I mean.
200, yeah.
It's that culvert, that box culvert, and it's all been put in at the same time, so if we're doing,
So to replace it, we
We
gotta
ought to
replace
just do it
about
all.
257 feet of culvert.
When I look by it, you're right, boy, it looks like a sidewalk, but it's just raised up 4 or 6 inches.
Right, right.
And
And,
it's,
you
all
know,
of it is disintegrated down through there.
oh yeah, it's cracks and got holes
But
in
it's,
it.
it's old.
Well, my question, I understand the 250, is there 2 phases? You could either, one, you just take care of that 15, 20-foot area in that box versus doing the whole 250, or is the whole 250 not stable anymore? Is it all,
It's,
well,
is the life cycle almost over of the concrete?
I would say the life, if you drive down Front Street there, we replaced the culvert going underneath the road a few years ago. And it's, I would say it was all poured at the same time, so it's all probably just as weak. It probably would fall in if it had the traffic over it.
Thank goodness, nobody's driving over this, what
Yeah.
that's bad, because
Yeah.
they were driving over what you replaced, and it fell in.
Yep.
And this here is up, I mean, if they in, because it's old and crumbly and cracked and,
Yeah, and the whole top of it, you know, there's spots that's cracked, busted off, and it, if we're gonna do it, you just as well replace it all.
well, it's a safety issue too, unless you know, if you don't, well, I mean, I'd hate for somebody to be walking on that and fall in.
we did, I did put an announcement out on social media, and then Bobby put it on our bid line today to get some bids for it. And they're to contact Bo and go over and take a look at it, to see over the next few days what kind of bids we have come in for it.
And we have money in the budget for it?
No, not right now, but we may not actually, I mean, it's gonna have to be done pretty quickly. No, we didn't budget for this, but I might have to take some money out of streets that Bo's got for the end of the year.
Cause I mean, if you drive by it, you can look.
Right.
You know, it's, yeah, it's a, Okay.
It's not, if the concrete people can get on it, we're gonna need to get it done as quickly as possible.
Right.
We can't leave that open like
No.
that over there.
I agree.
all right, any other questions on that? If not, we'll go with the pump truck.
So we found one, we got the truck, so what we were running into and trying to find a used pump truck is a lot of people were selling old trucks and putting newer pump tanks on the back of them. And twice we tried to get trucks here, and, the trucks was either breaking down or something, cause we're not buying a new one, they're $200,000, so we're trying to find a used pump truck in the $30,000 to $40,000 range so that we could, so what we ended up buying was we found a decent truck, and then we're going to, budget in this next year in our water and sewer, we'll use some of their capital money to put just the pump bed on it. And they make a pump bed that is kinda like on what I consider like a skid system, so that you can remove it even off of the truck if you wanted to. We can put the pump trailer on it, which is what all they were doing, but we found a better truck to put it on. So we went ahead and got the truck within the amount that we had, and we'll wait and put the pump on it.
And the truck that this is replacing is how old? It's old.
1988.
It's an 88 model,
1988.
and it's just been,
Well, the thing is, Fred keeps piecing that one together to get us by, but at the treatment plant, we have to keep that hauled out. We have to keep it down past a certain point, or we get fined by DNR. That truck has been broke down and broke down and broke down, so.
and the fines that DNR impose, they don't care if you know, they don't care, they just do it, you know. They've been really good working with us on some stuff.
They've been really good, and
But-
they've allowed us time to get that pumped down, and we're staying under the guidelines right now. Fred's been good to keep the truck going, but we don't want to get in a situation like we did recently where we couldn't get parts and it was down for weeks, so,
You need a motion to approve that?
yeah. We already did on the truck itself, but we're gonna need a motion to approve doing the tank part, but
When
I
we
do
gonna
not
do
wanna
the
do the
tank?
tank. It will be in the new fiscal year, it won't be in this year.
And the old
Because
one,
it'll take about, if we do a tank, it'll take about 8 weeks for us to get the tank.
and the old one
It'll be
is,
a new tank, it'll be a brand new tank.
but the old one's still working at
We'll
this.
still keep it, we'll have it as a backup, if something was to happen to go down, but
1250.
it's not gonna,
That's the same size as
if
the-
it lasts.
But if it goes down between now and the time we do this, we're in trouble.
We're in trouble. but it's the fastest we can get a tank.
Well, and
It's
Fred,
just we
Emery's
won't
been
end up-
working on this for 2 months, and Becky,
Right now, he
Try-
has it running,
It may be 1500.
and we've been using it.
Maybe.
they have been working on this for a couple months, trying to find one. He went to Oklahoma, and they were supposed to have it, and it quit, and they brought it here, and it quit. He just told them, forget
So
it, we
we
don't.
Do we need to expedite this to not wait? That's what my point is.
I kinda think no matter where we go to get the tank, we're already to the middle of May. I think it'll be around the 1st of July before we get anything.
Hopefully he can start,
I
him
just-
and Becky can start,
I just-
approve it to start looking for
For
one.
the next 6 weeks, hopefully we can keep our truck running, but I don't think we'll get one any sooner than the 1st of July.
Maybe when the new budget's approved, they can cut a check and it'll be there and they can go get it. And get it put on maybe.
I'd
Well,
make a
that was my
motion to go ahead
point.
and tank.
Do we need, is
Got a
there a
motion
reason
here.
we need to cut a check before then?
I mean, if they could get it to us before then, I would be fine with that.
That's my point. Do we
Okay.
need to,
If you want to approve that as a motion, I doubt that we're gonna be able to get it before July 1, but if you want to approve that as a motion, that if it's available before then, that we could go ahead and do it in this fiscal year.
I'll make that
Mark?
motion.
Okay, Mark made a motion to do that, but, so, is that okay? All right, Webb second. Second. Mark, how you vote?
Yes.
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 What's what did we change on the motion?
It's just that if they can get a tank and they can get it before June, like
But if they
July.
can't, we'll still just get it as soon as we can.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Right,
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
yes.
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 okay. All right, next thing is this, what is
Yeah.
that? Utility insurance, server line,
Okay,
surveil?
so this is just kind of some information for you. We have occasionally, people that will have a high water bill, not necessarily due to fault of their own, except that they have water lines on their property that they end up with a water leak. The way our system is right now, until we do, readings, they have no way of knowing that maybe sometimes that they have a water leak. So we have a lady recently that had a large bill. So this insurance is for cases like that. If somebody has a large bill, they can turn it in, but the way this insurance works, we do the billing of it. We offer it to our utility customers, we would have to add it to their water bill, we would have to collect the money, and then we would turn that money, a portion of that money over to the company. We would retain a portion of it for our trouble for doing everything. It only pays up to $2,500, so I think I gave you some information in my report about how many people we've had since the first of the year.
And this would be a mandatory charge, not an optional one, right?
No, it would be optional.
Oh, it would be optional. So people could elect to get this insurance.
If you wanted $500
If they were-
worth of
You
coverage,
can make it mandatory, but I wouldn't recommend
No.
that.
Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, I don't know,
are we gonna
we
have,
don't have very often that we have people with that high of a bill. I think, so when I gave you that amount on my report, I think we had 10 people,
Right.
but most of those people, we had 2 people that had major adjustments. That $3,000 and some dollars was really, most of that was 2 customers.
2 residential customers?
Mhm.
Okay.
Dale had asked me today about doing, a check over the last couple of years, but I didn't get that done before tonight. But honestly, Kim, you've worked in the utility department for years. On an average, anything that would be over, $2,500 or we maybe have, 2 to 3 a year? Most of the time, it's gonna be more like $300 to $400 to $500, which they would still qualify on that program. It only pays up to $2,500. The real reason that a lot of towns, so like Salem has voted to do it, but they haven't implemented it yet, is that sometimes when people have that big a bill, they never pay it. They just kind of walk away from it. A lot of times it'll end up being rental houses or something like that, and so then you just never get the money. So that insurance would pay the city in that case if somebody walked out on their bill.
So that's $2.35 a month for $2,500 worth of coverage.
Now, that's for the residents. What is it gonna cost the city?
It's not gonna cost us anything except trouble.
Yeah, to have to collect
Like
it.
our staff having to do all of it.
Which we get a little bit.
Yeah, you get a
What we
percentage of it.
collect, there's a percentage that's
So
designed
if
to
I,
go to the
if I'm a
city.
homeowner and I want $2,500 water, $2,500 sewer, it's gonna cost me $4.70 a month. Now, I don't know what master metered habitual resident, $2.50 per unit, I don't know what that means.
I'm
But-
sorry to disturb things, but my sister has just passed away, so
Oh,
I'm
we're
so
sorry.
sorry.
Sorry to hear that,
Brenda.
So sorry.
Be careful, be careful.
Brenda, if you wanna leave it, I'll bring it to you later.
Brenda, why don't you just do that, just go.
Just go, we'll take care of it.
If you, whatever you need to do,
Yep.
just go.
Just
I
grab it.
think I've got it here. Thank you guys for understanding.
Oh, of course.
We'll be praying for you.
Thank you. That's mine. You keep it in first.
Will our new system take care of this?
It will, we check on
You
it,
want me to
it
do
will.
that? So you want Arkansas? Not tonight. Okay. Probably in the morning.
Brenda, now, are you gonna head out now, or are you gonna wait till
No,
tomorrow?
I'm gonna wait till in the morning.
Okay, that's probably a good idea, isn't it?
Let us
Yeah.
know if you need anything.
I'll get in touch with you and let you know what's going on. Thanks. And sorry to have made so much disturbance tonight.
That's okay.
All right.
We
No
understand.
No
apologies.
problem.
So, do we have to have a certain percentage of people to sign up for this? It feels awkward to go back into business, but do we have to have a certain number of customers to sign up
I don't
for
know
it, or?
for sure yet on that.
Okay.
What I asked Becky was, our new program we have,
Yeah, the
will have the
tax,
capability
right?
of doing this.
It
Right,
will,
and
we
that was
checked.
kind of my question,
I
was
wasn't
those
sure-
new
I wasn't
meter
sure
system.
if we could add an additional charge on the bill for just individual people, cause the way we do billing, everybody
Right,
just goes through and it calculates everybody's. But our software people say that we can.
And they'll
I
charge
don't
us more
know,
money.
I don't know how much it will, I don't know, would you guys,
As a
Do that
consumer,
if
I
it
think
was
it's a
you?
bad math.
it,
As a homeowner, it's not good math.
Well, it
But
doesn't,
some people, they think it's good math because they have no margin in their life. And, you know, $200 would put them on tilt because they have just enough money for Friday.
Lady
Um,
that recently had a large one, was hers 4,000 altogether?
well, it was, and then we took off half of that.
Mhm.
We made an adjustment on the sewer side of hers.
So then hers, she's had to pay, well, she and her husband, 2,000, and so when she was describing, she worked with someone who lives at, is it,
Salem.
yeah, at Salem, and they overheard her, you know, talking about her situation, and they said, oh, does Mountain Grove not have, or Mountain Grove needs, you know, so that's kind of how this come about. But what she was saying was for the premium, she said, like for the $2.35 on the water, she said, for me, that would just be peace of mind. You know, cause some of the leaks occur underground, and you have no way of knowing, I mean, you don't see the water.
yeah,
But you'd
that
have
was
to have
ours,
sewer
we
and,
had,
you'd have to have
We
sewer
had
and
that
water.
ours.
But when we get
Well, I
the new
mean, we
meters,
currently write off for sewer, I don't know if we
But I
can still
mean,
do that or
tech-
not,
well,
so
I mean-
If
really.
you have this
just-
program, then if they opt to not do it, do you still do the adjustments like you do now? I mean, cause right now, what we do is take off half, basically it ends up being half, cause whatever, we take their sewer usage back down to what a normal sewer usage would be.
Right.
So basically, it ends up taking half, or not quite half, of their bill down.
well, I don't think you can have your cake and eat it too.
Well, but they'd
So
still
you
be
either have an
responsible for their
option.
water.
And when you
though.
do that, then you're kinda making it mandatory, if they want an adjustment, they've gotta take this insurance out.
Well,
So-
wait, I'm confused on your thinking. If they don't take it, if they do take it, they would have coverage up to,
Right.
say,
Right.
2,500 for their
Right.
water.
Right.
Say this particular instance I was just talking about, she'd been responsible for none, but if they didn't take it, they would still be responsible for the 2,000 water. So, I mean, we'd still give them the
Not if you-
sewer.
That's what they're saying, though.
Wouldn't we?
If you are not willing to take out the coverage, then do
Well,
you
I mean,
still do the
currently no one
adjustments?
has the coverage and we would adjust their sewer, so why wouldn't we?
Right, but if there's an
continue that?
option for the coverage,
Because there's no option for the coverage.
right, cause there's no option for the coverage right now, we're offering that adjustment.
And it's offered and you decline it, then you assume the responsibility.
Right.
Right, and this is from the city meter
To their home.
to their home.
Right,
Now, this isn't anything.
this
the
is
city
on their
side.
property.
Right.
This
If
is
On
it's
the
a
not-
city
city-
side, it's our responsibility.
Exactly, but we've
from
had
the-
trouble before when it's at their meter, from their meter to the house.
It's their responsibility.
It's their responsibility. We've had, and that's been an issue in the past.
Now, it
Yeah.
is with the new, if we do the new meter system that we put in this next year,
Exactly, yes.
instead of waiting until.
Bill time.
2 months.
Right,
They will have that option. Right now, unless they have the guys come out and check their readings, they don't know.
Right.
You know what.
Now, with this new can we look that up? Can I look it up on mine? Go to the city website and see how much water I've used, or on my phone, or whatever?
I don't know the answer to that.
I always get notifications.
Well, we do, if it's over, like when we check, meters and something is double, then they automatically notify the homeowner.
All right.
But it could be a
But by
month away,
then-
just a month
By then,
behind.
it's leaked for a month,
Yep.
because we're a month behind on.
Depending,
reading.
yeah.
Mine is not for a leak, but I mean, if it's because of consumption in the garden, they call me, but I get
Right,
that.
Right,
They
if it's
say-
over, if the usage is over a certain.
so what I get the kind of pros of being able to offer it, what are the cons for the city to be able to offer this type of insurance?
Extra work for
For
them.
me, it's extra work for the staff.
Okay, but we get a part of the compensation, right, of
I think
what?
it said you can set up to, I think it said 6% or something, wasn't it?
I mean, and obviously how much you would truly get compensated for
20
that, like,
cents a piece.
the time might all be the same to set it up and maintain it, but if only, 100 people do it versus,
2,000.
Yeah, I don't know.
2,000, right?
And the
Like,
other thing
that's
is-
gonna be a significant,
How,
you know,
how are
kinda-
you gonna add it to my bill?
yeah,
It will be on your, we would do that in staff,
The
we
com-
did
the
check.
computer
The
program
computer
will do, okay.
Yes.
yeah.
I mean, it would be really like a service to our community, I guess.
Right,
to
I
offer
don't
it.
see any reason not to offer it to people, except for sorry girls, but I don't see any reason not to offer it to them.
The only
You know-
thing, my only thing is, are you still going to do the adjustments if you offer the coverage?
On the sewer charge, is it pretty accurate the way you're doing it, taking and just doing away with like half, is that pretty accurate?
Well, what they do is, the girls will look at what their average over a few months' time, so, cause a lot of times, it's gonna be different right then when they have the leak. So they'll go back and look at a 6-month average of what their sewer is, take it back down to that average, and then we take that part of the sewer off. And, I mean, yeah, I think it's pretty accurate, as far as what should be taken off of there, yeah.
We would still take sewer off, or you're saying we wouldn't?
That's my question.
That's our question.
I
I
think
mean,
we
if
should.
you have a
I think
water
we
leak,
should
you're
too.
not using the sewer.
Yeah,
But
if you're not using it,
And
why
that's
have to
why
pay
we
for it?
Then
Take it
you
off.
shouldn't have to pay for it, that should be a given. If you're not using the sewer, you shouldn't have to pay for the sewer charge.
Which
Whether
we
you have
already-
the insurance or not, because the insurance is covering the
The
water.
water,
Yeah.
not sewer.
But you also you can have sewer coverage too, it offers both.
It does?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we're still
Okay.
not, we don't have any expense
Oh,
on the
I'm
sewer.
on the sewer leak
Yeah.
page.
Yeah,
Well,
it
first-
was for-
It
Understand.
all-
It would
Well,
be like
expense is just a
$2
water
and
bill or
something
sewer
a month.
$2.35 for $2,500, which is
Yeah,
$4.75
$2.35
a month, or
Yeah.
you can do $500 for
And then from-
$1.75.
And that,
From
I
100
heard
to 24,
Fred say that
500
earlier,
is
so
on
that's
them.
why I was wondering,
But I
why
got a
would
different-
anyone wanna purchase
But
the
that's,
sewer?
we're paying,
when we
that's
already-
So you have to buy both when you buy, you have to buy sewer
No.
and
No,
water.
you can buy either one,
Doesn't matter.
either or. Evidently, maybe, I don't know, I'm just looking.
I mean, just
Use
based
that
on
one,
the
that one.
information they have, you can do
Yeah,
either.
50/50 here.
Yeah, yeah.
obviously we would need,
I'd
I'm
rather
just
see a
basing
dollar slush fund
everything
in
off
our
the
water bill.
information.
That'd be
I mean, that's the
$30,000 a
thing,
year
cause if,
for forgiveness.
why, I guess maybe the only reason to offer the sewer is
Everybody-
if
Yeah, that's
people don't
30,000 a
pay
year.
their bill, but if we're already gonna
Customer, that's
adjust it off anyway,
That gives you $30,000
why
to
would you
forgive
do
your bill.
sewer?
I
would
think,
you
I can
offer it
think of,
even, or-
in the
Yeah,
last,
why would you even offer
in
it?
the last 5 years, I can think of
Instead of profit,
one
we do.
person that did not pay after they had a leak, a large leak.
That's
Yeah.
$140,000 a year in premiums.
Generally,
I'd do it city.
they need they wanna set,
Just run a map, and have a number.
Hang on, I'm sorry, hang on, Becky, I'm sorry, I interrupted you, go out ahead.
Sorry.
so, all I was saying was, generally, when they have a large leak and we take the sewer part off, then we allow them to make payments on the water side. So they're allowed time to make the payments so that they don't have to do it all at once.
What's the biggest bill we've had in 3 years of leaks? The worst case scenario.
The $3,000
The
one.
trailer park.
There was a 4,000, but
Around
they adjusted
4,000.
two, we adjusted
Okay,
two.
a math.
Yeah.
At $475 a month, at 2,500 houses, that's $140,000 a year in insurance numbers. I'd rather see us say, we'll do $1 city forgiveness fund, that'd be $30,000 a year. That would cover a lot of people's water leaks. If we done it self-insured or self-pooled,
So you charge everybody $1, charge everybody $1.
that'd be $30,000 a year.
Instead of four something.
Instead of $475, which would be $142,000. I'll do
If they wanted,
$475.
if they wanted to sign up
I
for it.
don't wanna get an insurance.
Well,
Would you
dollar, I
charge-
did $1, mandatory $1. That way, it's billing wise, it's easier. But, then if we got a leak up to $1,000, it's covered in that little pool.
Yeah, because it costs us to pump the water, no matter whether they gotta pay for it or not. We've gotta spend that to do that.
Yeah.
That's a different idea.
Because the insurance company's gonna make the difference, basically.
Yeah, they're gonna make the money.
Yeah,
So,
So that
so
way-
you're charging a household $1 a month.
versus $475.
Okay, how'd you come up with $30,000?
Well, I think I heard we had 2,500 houses in town, at $1 per house times 12 months is $12 a year, and 30,000 a year times the math.
Sign me up.
So, yeah, we're at
Because I mean,
475, Dale Incorporated will bank it.
that's a good business sense to do that. To me,
Yeah.
I think maybe, do we have to do this now? Can we call Salem and
Think
do some
about it.
We can
research?
table it to the
Salem
next
has not,
meeting.
they have voted to do it, they just haven't.
I'd
started
like to know some,
implementing.
I'd like to know some towns doing it and look at Dale's idea too. I mean, that's, you know,
If the biggest bill is over $4,000, 30,000 covers that, you know.
and if you only had 2 or 3 of them a year, or
That's
one,
just-
I mean, in all the years that I've been up
And
at
that's
City
It's
Hall.
usually a
Peace of
$300 nuisance is what it actually is.
and that is a piece of mind,
And
right
And
there
have
for
a
a
few
dollar.
at 4 or 5.
And
right?
any profits can go to the
$1.
pool.
$1, peace of mind.
Right, that's what
Who
he's
wouldn't
saying.
do
Is that
that?
amendment?
It's a win-win.
That's
Well,
my
and that
motion.
was gonna be my question, like, is this mandatory for everybody? That's a question, you know, like $1 increase
People
for
don't like
everybody?
mandatory.
I know, and then also it's
Yeah,
like when the
mandatory.
money, when there's leftover money, what are we doing with that money? Because
Put it in
goodness
the
knows,
pool.
the city just loves to squander people's money on things
Well,
that don't,
I mean-
you know, like, I think that's sometimes
The
the
water and
mentality,
sewer
right? It's like,
department-
where's
Yes.
the money
Is
going?
in
Like,
the red
we
area
have to
area,
have
water
a
and sewer,
plan.
to help that water and
So
sewer
where it
department.
goes,
Yeah, really.
if
That
it
would
doesn't
make
go
sense.
towards those water bill needs, like, does it stay in a fund until a certain threshold and then it can go to something else, you
I
know?
haven't been
Instead of making
seconded
a
yet.
motion,
Can we just table it?
can we, let me get some more information
yes.
and
I move we table to the next meeting in June.
All right, good enough, all right. But
I
that's
need
a
a
good
second.
point. Both of
you
them
need a
was-
second for
Yeah,
what?
I tabled the motions, you got a second motion?
I second it. Okay.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. All right, administrative report? I
Okay,
think
we've
we've covered
probably
that over there.
covered almost everything, but let me go down through here. Grant upstate, Lake Street property, the plumbing was completed by a volunteer, Clint. He's done a great job, hasn't he? And he's spent a lot of hours over there, putting all the plumbing in for all the bathrooms.
You did all that,
showers.
Clint?
No.
Oh.
But that's
No.
what
I was gonna say, he said Clint, and I'm like, that boy Clint. Who had a volunteer? Can we say? Can we? Okay.
Wow, he's volunteering? He's not a fireman?
No, he just volunteered.
He just knew that we were doing the fire station and wanted to volunteer.
Well, very good.
Well, and who was that again?
A&S Plumbing.
So who's A&S?
Aaron
Lacey.
Aaron Lacey.
Lacey.
Thank you, Aaron
Okay.
Lacey. Shout out to Aaron Lacey, thank you.
Let's remember that, guys, when we need plumbing.
Yeah, and he's just, you know, he works for a living, so he's doing this on the side, and he's gonna go
Wow,
over there.
just out of the goodness of his heart.
And there's been days he's been there 8, 9 hours, just.
Yeah, there was a lot to do.
A&S plumbing.
The sheetrock is up in all the sleeping rooms and the office areas. The buildings, if you go by there, what was the green building, the second building has been painted. We still have trim and stuff to paint on it, but the paint has went on it. Half of the other building is done, and then it started raining again, so
Yeah.
eventually we'll get the painting done. Hopefully we'll be completed by mid-June, but we'll see. We're taking it day by day. Everybody's working hours that they can.
And then are we gonna offer like the community
We're
bill
gonna
to
do
come in
an
and
open
look?
house, which, on the newsletter you saw.
I didn't get a
Yeah, I
newsletter.
haven't got to read that yet, 'cause
I didn't get it.
New fire station is right on top, first thing. Everybody get one of these?
I didn't get one.
Okay.
I don't.
Pass
Did
that.
you steal it? Probably Zach stole it.
Yeah, probably, he's got two.
He's that way. Thank you.
Tammy, you get
That's
the,
just a draft,
you get the
that's
first
kind of
quiz
what we're,
question, so make
but
sure you stay.
I'll
we,
stay.
we will do an open house, once we know that everything's ready, get the lot cleaned up, get everything ready to go, we'll do a big open house. Have some food, maybe we'll have our emergency trailer on board by then, and we can show that.
That'd be
off.
nice.
Okay, the demolition list, that may be on hold, so just, the new list is
Yeah.
there, if you
Or
have any
just a part
questions
of
on
it,
it,
maybe.
or part of it, we'll see. The airport RFQ, Brett with Garver is who we chose, they are in the process of submitting our 5-year plan to MoDOT for the airport. Treatment plant, this is what you have in front of you, okay? Take it home, great nighttime reading. This was already done for you all in March of 22. When I talked to Matt with Toth about what all we needed to do at the treatment plant, he's like, I've already all the phases in here, what the cost is gonna be, going through phase 1, 2, 3, and 4 as we make the improvements and expand the, treatment plant, and what those estimated costs are, and what kind of grant funding. Obviously, some of those figures will have to be kind of tweaked a little bit because of the cost increases and everything. But it gives you a pretty good overview of everything that needs to be done out there. So take that home, look it over. Next month, we'll talk a little more about it after you've had time to look.
Is this the
through
one
it.
he's talking about, 6 million?
Yes, the total, but he's kind of got it broke down in phases. Okay? It'll be probably 6 to 7 million. That will have to be done through bond financing, and
Don't we
we'll
already
do-
have a bond out there for our sewer?
It will be paid off this year.
Okay.
This year is our last payment on it.
And the
Okay.
reason that is,
If
Okay.
you look on, what did I tell you, page
32 or something.
39 maybe?
Okay.
In your audit reports, if you wanna look at the dates that stuff are gonna be paid off,
Yeah, 39.
on page 39 of your audit report, shows you what the long-term liabilities are and the dates that those will be paid off, and it shows you that the last payment on the UV system at the treatment plant is in 2024.
Okay. Okay.
But just page 39 in your audit report, it is a helpful page.
and the reason that is taking so long to pay that off is because the contractor that was doing it quit,
Yeah.
and the city had to come out and go out because the contractor quit. It was a fiasco.
So those,
Okay.
the stuff at the treatment plant is, we've got to start moving towards, implementation.
Right.
And if you look at Toth's report, some of that stuff, I think like phase 1, he estimated that to start in fiscal year 25. It really falls well within what he planned in the scope of work, cause he planned it to start after we paid off the UV system.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I still think everything that he's got in there, some of the numbers may need to be tweaked as far as amounts, but
Right.
I think the way he's got it broke down and how we wanna implement it is good, and we may even wanna do phase 1 and 2 closer together than what he has listed in there.
Toth is good.
Yeah.
They've been really good to.
Cool.
The swimming pool, we've covered that. The
Yeah.
strategic plan summary, I didn't get that done today. It is back in my office, but I don't have it finished, so I will email that out to you. The newsletter, you have a copy of that. That's the draft. I'm still gonna tweak a few things on that, but that, I plan on that going out next week, and on the back of it will be the water quality report that we have to provide to the citizens every year. We have to do that by July of every year, so that'll be on the back of it. The serve line insurance, we just went over that. The storm drain, we've talked about. The street repair, they're in the process. They've started the process. It's a long process, because we have a lot of streets and a lot of holes, but they're in the process of repairing those. And this list that we gave you a copy of, this is gonna be the ones that he's going to do, this is the seal list, where they go through and put the sealer on. Those will be done probably second or third week of July is what he's kinda aiming towards. But that's a list, front and back, of all the streets that we'll be doing that on.
And Becky, this draft letter that you have, City of Mountain Grove newsletter, that's really good.
Well,
Very informative, that's good.
you know, if you think of things that you would like to have included in the newsletter, that you think it's important to get the information out, let me know and we'll try to get that on there.
I still, would like to put it on the water bill, but I know people don't look at it.
Well,
Can we just copy both of them?
People, but Dale would have people, they won't look at it, and then
No,
they're
they don't
not
turn the bill
informed.
over.
it's a bill.
Never
Yeah.
looked on the back of it.
Most of them, when they come in to pay their bill, they've never even opened the envelope. They
I
never
don't,
bring it in.
I don't
That
know.
would be me.
Okay, anything else on that administrative report?
That's it.
Fuel
Make a motion
system
to pay the bills.
airport.
Oh, did I skip that? Okay, so they did get the tank set, everything is out there. The only thing we're lacking is we are working out with them, we have to figure out our server and stuff, how we're doing the credit card process.
POS deal.
And Bobby's
I
helping
was
me
gonna
with
say,
that.
that's Bobby's department, isn't it?
Did we ever,
Processor.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
did we ever resolve the fuel tank that was out there that we do not own?
No, because he was still with his dad in Illinois. That was gravely ill, so he hasn't been back for me to talk to. Is he back yet, Zach?
I know of,
He hasn't made it back yet that
Okay.
I'm aware of. He said once his dad, when I talked to him last week, he said they were expecting maybe in the next couple of days, his dad was gonna pass and then he needed to take care of business.
Sure,
So he's not been back.
yeah, I didn't know that.
He's been gone for, probably close to a month now,
Close.
What's his first name, the boy?
right?
Ray.
Ray. He's pretty agreeable to work with, isn't he? Yeah, he's nice. Okay, anything else?
I think so.
No, we have some bills to pay, if you wanna take a look at them. I'd entertain a motion.
Motion.
Oh, wait, I did think of something else. What about, the MoDOT
Oh.
discussion that, or,
So, some of you had asked, so I did verify with them, it is gonna be 26 when they do the 95 widening. But some of it may, so their fiscal year starts in October of each year, so fiscal year 26 for them will start
October
in
25.
October of 25. So some of the work could start as much as October of 25, but most likely, most of it the construction will be in 26.
Did they say when they're gonna get us the final plans?
He said, they had first told me April.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask him about that the other day when I asked him about the year, but Elklin, that was at the meeting that I went to, she told me probably May, so I'm still expecting it this month.
We'll
She
see.
said they were still working out entrance issues with some of the property owners.
And that's probably gonna take some time.
Well, I think they were just trying to compromise in a few places with people, so.
Okay.
I do not have it yet, and I did not get a chance to talk to Pete this afternoon to see if they're close to having that final plan, so.
so did you decide council might not need to send a letter of affirmation on our,
Well, it had been mentioned to me about, even Pete mentioned it to me at one time, he said, they had a representative that had, in the politics realm, had contacted them and told them that the city didn't want the 95 widening. And I told him that that was not the case, that the city council was supportive of it. So if you guys would want to, I would prepare a letter, to MoDOT stating that the city council is in favor of the 95 widening project. Unless there's
I
opposition
think that
to it.
that would be a good plan.
Have a motion?
I
Is
think
that
there's
Carolyn?
maybe some negativity about it, so.
Wait, there, did you say, I'm sorry while I was reading this, did you say they're waiting for us to submit that?
No.
Or,
No, I
It'd just
just,
be a
I
good
told
thing.
him verbally that that the council was not, that I was not aware of any negative from the council as far as the widening project, that we felt like it was a necessary thing. I just thought it might be good if it was actually put in writing from the council.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you need us, okay, we've made a motion or something?
Okay, Webb made the motion to send a letter to him, have a second?
Second.
Webb, how do you vote?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Okay, now, motion to pay the bills?
Motion.
Motion to pay the bills, second? Dale, did you second it?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I do not
Okay.
have anything for closed session unless you all have something that you wanna go into executive session.
I'd make a motion to adjourn.
No, you can't do that, that's my job.
Oh,
Go
say,
ahead.
got a second?
Second.
Second.
All right. By Mark, by Webb. Thank you.